Get down on the ground now!
Officer, stand down. You are under arrest.
You people don't belong here. Those 5 words shattered the happiest day of my life. One minute I'm dancing with my bride under string lights and cherry blossoms. The next, a cop is standing in our yard badge, gleaming hate burning in his eyes, telling me an FBI agent that I don't deserve to live in my own neighborhood. He thought he had all the power. He thought wrong. This is the true story of how one racist officer destroyed a wedding reception only to discover that the groom wasn't just any black man, and that the 2 guests sipping champagne in the corner were the police chief and the mayor. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. Now let's get into what really happened that day. He's going to ruin everything. That's what Lena whispered in my ear 3 seconds before Officer Miller stepped onto our property. My wife, brilliant, beautiful Lena, in her white dress with jasmine in her hair, she felt it before I did. That shift in the air, that sudden cold. I turned. Saw the squad car parked at an angle across our driveway, 1 tire on the lawn I'd mowed that morning. Saw the door swing open. Saw him. Officer J. Miller. Badge number 4739. I'd remember that number for the rest of my life. Marcus? Lena's fingers tightened on my arm. Marcus, who called the police? Nobody called the police, baby. But Miller was already walking toward us. Not the walk of a man responding to a complaint. The walk of a man who decided something before he even arrived. His hand rested on his belt. Not on his gun, not yet, but close enough to send a message. The music didn't stop right away. My cousin Derek was mid-chorus on Isn't She Lovely, and about 40 of our closest friends and family were still laughing, still dancing, still living in the moment before everything changed. The moment when our wedding was just a wedding. Miller's boots crunched on the gravel path. Heavy. Deliberate. Excuse me. His voice cut through the music like a blade. Excuse me. Now the music stopped. Derek lowered his microphone. My mother froze with a champagne flute halfway to her lips. Lena's sister grabbed her daughter and pulled her close. Everyone knew. You grow up black in America, you know that sound, that tone, that particular flavor of authority that isn't about keeping the peace, it's about keeping you in your place. Miller planted himself 10 feet from our wedding arch, the one Lena and I had stood under 2 hours ago, while Judge Morrison pronounced us husband and wife. White roses and baby's breath still fresh, still perfect. Which one of you is the homeowner? I stepped forward. Felt Lena trying to hold me back, but I went anyway. I am. Marcus Thorne. This is my wife, Lena. I need to see some identification. The words hung in the air. Around us, 40 people held their breath. Officer, I'm not sure what this is about, but identification now. My best man, James, 23 years in the Marines, never rattled. He moved up beside me. Sir, this is a private residence. These folks are having a wedding reception. Maybe there's been some confusion. Miller's eyes slid to James. Cold, flat. I'm going to need you to step back, sir. James, it's okay. I kept my voice level, calm. Everything they'd taught me at Quantico about de-escalation. I'll handle this. But my mind was already working, running through scenarios. Officer shows up to a party in a predominantly white neighborhood. No noise complaints on file I'd checked with the city before we even sent out invitations. No vehicles blocking streets, no violations of any kind, which meant this wasn't about violations. I reached slowly into my jacket pocket, pulled out my wallet. FBI credentials in one side, driver's license in the other. Here's my license. This is my property. We're celebrating our wedding. I'm not sure what... Miller snatched the license from my hand, looked at it, looked at me, looked at the license again. This address... Yes, sir. You live here? Yes, sir. My wife and I closed on this house 6 months ago. Something flickered across his face. Not surprise, something uglier. 6 months. That's right. He handed back my license like it was contaminated. We've had complaints. Complaints about what? Noise, parking, disturbing the peace. I glanced at my watch. 7:30 p.m. on a Saturday. Officer Miller. I read his nameplate. Our music is at a reasonable volume. There are no cars blocking any driveways. Everyone here is on my property. What specific complaint are you responding to? His jaw tightened. You questioning me? I'm asking for clarification. I don't need to explain myself to you. Lena appeared at my side. She'd changed from her heels into flats, always practical, always prepared. Her hand slipped into mine. Officer, perhaps there's been a misunderstanding. We notified our neighbors about tonight. We sent them invitations, actually. Most of them declined, but we wanted to be courteous. We're not trying to cause any problems. Miller's eyes traveled from her face down to our joined hands and back up. Notified them. That's real nice, real neighborly. The sarcasm dripped like acid. We just want to celebrate our wedding, Lena said softly. It's been a beautiful day. We don't want any trouble. Should have thought about that before you moved into this neighborhood. The words landed like a punch. Around us, the silence deepened. Someone gasped. I heard my mother say, "Sweet Jesus." What did you just say? I kept my voice steady, but something in my chest was building. Something hot and dangerous. Miller stepped closer, close enough that I could smell the coffee on his breath, the faint trace of alcohol underneath. You heard me. This is a quiet neighborhood. Good people. They don't appreciate disruptions. Disruptions? Yeah, disruptions. People who don't fit, who bring down property values, who... Officer Miller. A new voice. Deep, authoritative. That's enough. Miller's head whipped around. For the first time since he'd arrived, I saw uncertainty cross his face. Police Chief Theodore Reynolds stepped out from the crowd. 6'3", gray hair, dress uniform he'd come straight from another event. Behind him, Mayor Richard Collins still holding a plate of my mother's sweet potato pie. Chief, Miller's voice cracked slightly, I didn't realize that you were crashing a wedding reception, that you were harassing a federal agent on his own property, that you were about to make the biggest mistake of your career. Federal agent. Chief Reynolds let the word sit. Miller's face went from red to white in 3 seconds flat. Federal what? I pulled out my credentials again, held them up. Special Agent Marcus Thorne, FBI, 10 years with the Bureau, 5 years undercover work, 2 years in counterterrorism. And today, I'm just a man trying to marry the woman he loves without some racist cop destroying the best day of his life. I wasn't, Miller stumbled backward. I was responding to a complaint. What complaint? Chief Reynolds moved closer. Give me the call number, the timestamp, the name of the complainant. Silence. That's what I thought. The chief's voice could have cut glass. There was no complaint, was there? You drove by. Saw black folks having a good time, saw them in what you consider your neighborhood, and you decided to do what put them in their place, remind them they don't belong. Sir, save it. Chief Reynolds turned to me. Marcus, I apologize. This is unacceptable. I give you my word this will be addressed. Mayor Collins set down his pie, wiped his hands. Officer Miller, I'm going to be very clear. What happened here tonight is not just inappropriate, it's illegal. Harassment, abuse of power, possible hate crime, and it happened in front of 40 witnesses, including 2 city council members, a federal judge, and apparently half the FBI's field office. I looked around, saw Agent Harrison from Cybercrimes, Agent Thompson from Organized Crime, my supervisor, Agent Chen, standing near the dessert table with murder in her eyes. Miller saw them too, watched his world collapse in real time. I want to make a statement. The words came out before I could stop them. Official statement. On the record. Lena squeezed my hand. Marcus. No. I looked at her. Saw everything we'd talked about late at night. Every conversation about picking our battles. About not letting the anger consume us. About building a life, not fighting wars. No baby. Not this time. This time I'm done being quiet. I turned back to Miller. You came to my home. My wedding. You looked at my wife and me and decided we didn't deserve to be here. Decided we were a problem to be solved. And you know what the worst part is? You thought you'd get away with it. You thought your badge gave you the right. Agent Thorne, Chief Reynolds started. He's drunk. The words came from James still standing at my shoulder. I can smell it from here. Miller's face confirmed it before he could deny it. Just a flicker. Just enough. Breathalyzer, Chief Reynolds said immediately. Now. Chief, I had 1 beer hours ago. You're on duty, in uniform. You don't get to have 1 beer. And from where I'm standing, you've had more than 1? The chief pulled out his phone. I'm calling this in. Officer Miller, you're suspended effective immediately pending a full investigation. You can't do that. Watch me. Chief Reynolds didn't blink. In fact, let me be very clear about what's about to happen. You're going to be investigated by Internal Affairs. You're going to be interviewed by the FBI. Yes, the FBI because you just harassed a federal agent. You're going to submit to drug and alcohol testing. And when all of that is done, you're going to be charged. Criminally charged. Miller's mouth opened and closed. For what? For starters, harassment, abuse of authority, drunk on duty, civil rights violations, and that's before we dig into your record and see what else we find, because something tells me this isn't your first time playing cowboy with people you think can't fight back. Mayor Collins stepped forward. Officer Miller, as mayor of this city, I'm putting you on notice. This administration will not tolerate racism in any form. Not in our streets, not in our police force, not anywhere. What you did tonight was disgraceful. You're a disgrace to that uniform. I was doing my job. Your job? I felt something inside me snap. Your job is to protect and serve, not to terrorize, not to demean, not to show up at a wedding and spew hatred because you can't stand seeing black people happy and successful. I never said anything about race. You didn't have to. The words exploded out of me. Lena's hand tightened on mine, but I couldn't stop. 10 years of holding it together, 10 years of being the model agent, the respectable one, the one who never made waves. You didn't have to say it because we all know what this is. We know what you people means. We know what don't belong here means. We've been hearing it our whole lives. My mother was crying. I could hear her. Somewhere in the crowd, someone else started crying too. You looked at this house, my house, and saw a problem. You looked at me in my wedding suit and saw a threat. You looked at my wife in her wedding dress and saw something that needed to be put down. That's what you did. That's what you are. Miller's face twisted. For a moment, I thought he might take a swing at me. Thought he might actually be stupid enough to assault a federal agent in front of the chief of police and the mayor. Instead, he grabbed the closest thing to him, the 3-tier wedding cake my mother-in-law had spent 2 days making. White frosting, fresh strawberries, edible flowers Lena had picked out from a specialty shop in Portland. You want to know what I think? Miller lifted the cake. I think you're right. I think you people don't belong here. I think... He threw it. The cake exploded against the ground. White frosting splattered across the grass. Strawberries rolled like tiny red grenades. The top tier, the one with our names in gold script, cracked in half. Lena made a sound. Small. Broken. Miller didn't stop. He grabbed the gift table. Shoved it over. Boxes tumbled. Cards scattered. The crystal vase from Lena's grandmother brought over from Jamaica 70 years ago shattered on the flagstone. Miller, stand down. Chief Reynolds was moving, but Miller was faster. He grabbed the flower arrangements, ripped them down. White roses and baby's breath torn and crushed. He grabbed the string lights James had helped me hang yesterday, yanked them. Bulbs popped and sparked. This is what I think of your celebration, Miller was screaming now, completely unhinged. This is what I think of you people coming into our neighborhoods, our streets, acting like you own the place. He grabbed a chair, threw it into the dessert table. Pies and cookies and brownies exploded. I started forward, but Chief Reynolds caught me. Don't let him dig his grave. And Miller did. He destroyed everything in reach. Every decoration, every carefully planned detail, every piece of the celebration Lena and I had worked months to create. When he finally stopped chest heaving surrounded by wreckage, he looked around at the witnesses, at the phones recording, at Chief Reynolds and Mayor Collins and 40 people who'd just watched a cop destroy a wedding reception in a racist rage. You're all witnesses, Miller panted. They were disturbing the peace. They were... Officer Miller! Chief Reynolds' voice was ice. You're under arrest. The words hit like thunder. What? You're under arrest. Turn around. Hands behind your back. You can't arrest me, You're what, a cop? Not anymore, you're not. Chief Reynolds pulled out handcuffs. Real handcuffs. Not for show. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Miller's face went through every emotion, shock, denial, rage, fear. This is bullshit. This is justice. I stepped forward, stood in front of him while Chief Reynolds cuffed him. This is what happens when you abuse power. When you think your badge makes you untouchable. When you forget that the people you're supposed to serve are human beings with rights and dignity and the law on their side. Tears were streaming down my face. I didn't care. You came to destroy my wedding. Congratulations, you succeeded. But you know what else you did? You showed everyone here exactly who you are. You showed them on camera. You showed them in front of the police chief and the mayor and 40 witnesses who will testify against you. I leaned closer. And you showed them that we're not going anywhere. That this is our home, our neighborhood, our city, and no racist cop with a badge and a God complex is going to change that. Chief Reynolds pulled Miller toward the squad car, the same car he'd parked on our lawn, the same car he'd used to roll up like he owned the place. "Wait," Lena's voice stopped everyone. "Wait." She walked through the wreckage, through the destroyed cake and broken glass and trampled flowers, bent down, picked up something small, the cake topper, 2 figures, one in a tux, one in a white dress, still intact, still holding hands. She looked at Miller. "You tried to destroy this. You tried to destroy us, but you failed." She held up the cake topper. "We're still standing, still married, still here, and we always will be." Miller said nothing, just stood there in handcuffs while Chief Reynolds read him his rights. 2 more squad cars pulled up, officers I didn't recognize. They took Miller from Chief Reynolds, loaded him into the back of a car, drove away. Silence settled over the yard, 40 people standing in the wreckage of what should have been the perfect celebration. "Marcus," my mother's voice. "Baby, come here." I turned, saw her standing with Lena's mother, saw both of them crying, saw them holding each other up. "I'm so sorry," I said. "I'm so sorry this happened. I'm so Don't." My mother pulled me into a hug. "Don't you dare apologize. You didn't do this. That man did this. That hateful, broken man. This is not your fault. Our wedding is not over." Lena appeared at my side, took my hand. "Marcus, look at me." I looked. "This is not how our wedding ends," she said firmly. "This is not the story we tell our children, that some racist cop destroyed our celebration and we gave up. No, we take our wedding back, right now." "Lena, everything's destroyed." "So we rebuild?" She looked around at our friends and family. "Everyone listen up. We have a choice. We can let what just happened define this day, let that man win, or we can fight back, not with violence, not with hate, but by refusing to let him steal our joy." Derek raised his microphone. "What do you need, Music," Lena said immediately. "We need music. We need dancing. We need this wedding reception to continue like we planned. The cake is gone, so we eat pie, we eat cookies, we eat whatever's left." Lena's eyes were fierce, determined. "And we celebrate anyway. We celebrate harder, because that's how we win." Agent Chen stepped forward. "I'll help clean up the broken glass." "I'll reset the chairs," James added. "I'll salvage what I can from the gift table," Lena's sister called out. And just like that, 40 people moved into action, cleaning, reorganizing, rebuilding. Chief Reynolds approached me. "Marcus, I need to talk to you about next steps, about the investigation." "Later," I said. "Right now, I'm dancing with my wife." I took Lena's hand, led her to the middle of the yard, the same spot where we'd shared our first dance 3 hours ago. Before Miller. Before everything fell apart. Derek started the music, not our planned song, something different, something defiant. "Stand by me." Lena laughed through her tears. "Perfect." We danced in the middle of the wreckage, held each other while our friends and family cleaned around us, swayed to the music while the sun set and the stars came out and the world slowly began to feel right again. "I love you," I whispered into her hair. "I'm so sorry." "Stop apologizing." She pulled back, looked at me. "Marcus, you did nothing wrong. You stood up. You spoke truth. You didn't back down. I'm so proud of you." Our perfect day. Was perfect. Is perfect. Because I married you. Because we're surrounded by people who love us. Because even after everything, maybe especially after everything, we're still here. Still standing. Still together. She kissed me. Soft and fierce and full of promise. When we broke apart, I saw Chief Reynolds talking to Mayor Collins. Saw them looking at their phones. Saw their expressions change. "Marcus." Chief Reynolds waved me over. "You need to see this." I left Lena dancing with her mother, walked over. "What is it?" "Miller's arrest is already on social media. Someone, probably multiple someones, posted video of the whole thing. It's going viral." Mayor Collins turned his phone around. I saw the footage. Saw Miller throwing the cake, destroying the decorations, screaming about "you people." Saw myself standing there, calm, controlled, revealing my FBI credentials. Saw Chief Reynolds cuffing Miller. The view count was climbing. Thousands, tens of thousands. Comments flooding in. "This is bad," Chief Reynolds said quietly. "For Miller, for the department, for all of us, this is going to blow up." "Good," I said. Both men looked at me. Good. Let it blow up. Let everyone see what happened. Let everyone see what we face. Let everyone see that even being an FBI agent doesn't protect you from racism. That having a badge doesn't give you the right to terrorize people. Let it all come out. Marcus, I understand you're angry, Mayor Collins started. I'm not angry. I'm done. I looked at both of them. I'm done pretending this is isolated. I'm done acting like it's just a few bad apples. I'm done being the respectable black man who doesn't make waves. Because it doesn't matter. It didn't protect me. It didn't protect my wife. It didn't protect our wedding. So what do you want to do? Chief Reynolds asked quietly. I want justice. Real justice. I want every officer who's done this to someone else identified, investigated, charged. I want the system that protected them torn apart. I want reform. Real reform. The kind that actually changes things. That's a tall order, Mayor Collins said. I'm a federal agent. You're the police chief. You're the mayor. If we can't make it happen, who can? Silence. Then Chief Reynolds extended his hand. You have my word. We do this right. All the way. No matter where it leads. Mayor Collins nodded. Mine too. This ends now. The protection. The cover-ups. All of it. I shook their hands. Felt something shift. Something bigger than just tonight. Bigger than just Miller. Behind me, the music changed again. Louder. More celebratory. I turned. Saw my mother dancing with Lena's father. Saw James doing the electric slide with Agent Thompson. Saw Derek leading everyone in the Cupid Shuffle. Saw Lena standing in the middle of it all, laughing, her white dress stained with grass and frosting her jasmine crown, slightly askew, looking more beautiful than ever. She caught my eye. Beckoned me over. I went. Left Chief Reynolds and Mayor Collins planning their strategy. Left the phones and the videos and the promises of justice. Went back to my wife. My wedding. My life. Come on, Agent Thorne, Lena grinned. Show me what you got. And I danced. We all danced. Until the neighbors, the ones who'd maybe called Miller, maybe just watched from their windows, turned their lights out one by one, until the stars filled the sky, until the music played on and on and on, until our wedding reception became exactly what we'd wanted it to be, a celebration, a declaration, a promise that no matter what came next, we'd face it together. The wreckage could wait, the fight could wait, the long road to justice could wait. Tonight we danced. The last guest left around 2 a.m. My mother kissed my cheek, whispered something about strength and legacy, then climbed into my uncle's car with tears still wet on her face. Lena's parents were the last to go, her father gripping my hand so tight I thought he might break it. You take care of my daughter, he said, not a request, a command. Always, sir. And you take care of yourself. This fight you're starting, it's going to get ugly. I looked at Lena standing in the doorway of our destroyed reception venue, still in her wedding dress, still beautiful despite everything. I know. When they finally drove away, Lena and I stood in the silence. The yard looked like a war zone. Broken glass glittered under the porch lights. Frosting smeared across the flagstones. Trampled flowers everywhere. The gift table lay on its side, cards scattered like fallen leaves. We should clean up, Lena said quietly. Tomorrow? Marcus? Tomorrow, baby? Tonight we go inside. We lock the door. We try to remember that this was supposed to be the happiest day of our lives. She nodded, took my hand. We walked through the wreckage together. Inside the house was quiet, peaceful, untouched by Miller's destruction. We decorated the living room with more flowers, more candles. They were still burning, still perfect. I'm going to change, Lena said. This dress, I can't keep it on. She looked at me. Marcus, it's ruined. No, it's not. It's perfect. You're perfect. And I want to remember you exactly like this. On our wedding night, strong, beautiful, unbroken. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I feel broken. I know, me too. I pulled her close. But we're not. We're bent. We're scarred. But we're not broken. He didn't break us. We held each other in the candlelight. Swayed slightly like we were still dancing, like the music was still playing. My phone buzzed. Then again, then continuously. Don't, Lena whispered. Please don't look. But I had to. Pulled it out. Saw 57 missed calls, hundreds of texts, my FBI supervisor, my colleagues, news outlets, random numbers I didn't recognize, and one text from Chief Reynolds sent 20 minutes ago. Miller's been processed and booked. Blood alcohol level .12, formal charges pending, IA opening full investigation into his conduct history. We need to meet Monday morning, 9 a.m., my office. Bring everything you remember, every detail. I showed Lena. Monday, she said. That's 48 hours away. Can we just have 48 hours? Just us. Just this. Yes. I turned off my phone, threw it on the couch. What are you doing? Lena asked. Choosing you, choosing us, choosing this moment over everything else. The world can wait 2 days. She smiled. First real smile since Miller showed up. Take me upstairs, Agent Thorne. Yes, ma'am, Dr. Thorne. We climbed the stairs together. Left the ruined wedding behind. Found each other in the darkness. Held each other through the night. And tried so hard to forget that outside our door a storm was building. Sunday morning arrived with sunlight and silence. No phone calls because my phone was still off. No emergencies because we weren't answering the door. Just me and Lena in our bed tangled in white sheets, pretending the world didn't exist. We should eat, Lena murmured against my chest. We should. Neither of us moved. Your mother left pie in the fridge. I know. Sweet potato, your favorite. I know. Marcus? Yeah. We can't hide forever. I tightened my arms around her. Watch me try. But eventually we got up. Eventually we had to face it. Not the world, not yet, but the aftermath. The physical evidence of what Miller had done. We changed into old clothes, jeans and t-shirts, work clothes, then went outside. The damage looked worse in daylight. Everything we'd built, everything we'd planned, destroyed. I started with the big pieces, the overturned gift table, the broken chairs. Lena gathered the scattered cards, salvaging what she could. This one's from your aunt in Detroit, she said, holding up a soggy envelope. Water damaged, but readable. Save it. This one's from my college roommate. The envelope's torn, but the card's okay. Save them all. We worked in silence for an hour, filled 3 trash bags with broken glass and trampled flowers and ruined decorations. The wedding cake was beyond salvaging. We scooped it into garbage bags, trying not to think about how Lena's mother had spent 2 days making it perfect. Marcus, Lena's voice cracked. The vase. I looked, saw her kneeling by the shattered crystal, her grandmother's vase. The one that had survived a journey from Jamaica 70 years ago. Survived moves and children and hurricanes and time itself. Couldn't survive one racist cop. Maybe we can repair it, I said. It's in 1,000 pieces. Then we'll find someone who can work with 1,000 pieces. We'll find someone who specializes in restoration. We'll fit... Marcus, stop. She looked up at me. It's gone. We can't fix this. We can't fix any of this. Yes, we can. How do we fix what he did? How do we fix the fact that our wedding is now a crime scene? How do we fix the fact that I'll never look at these photos without remembering him, without seeing him throwing our cake, destroying our celebration? I knelt beside her, took her hands. We fix it by not letting him win, by rebuilding, by making new memories, by refusing to let one night define the rest of our lives. I want to believe that. Then believe it, because I'm not giving up on us, on this house, on this neighborhood, on any of it. She leaned her forehead against mine. I'm scared. Me too. What if he's not the only one? What if the whole neighborhood hates us? What if... A knock on the fence interrupted her. We both turned. An older white woman stood at the gate, late 60s, cardigan despite the warm weather, nervous hands twisting together. I'm sorry to interrupt, she said. I'm Sarah Mitchell. I live 3 houses down, the blue one with the rose bushes. I stood slowly, helped Lena up. Mrs. Mitchell, I wanted to apologize. The words rushed out. For last night, for not coming out, for not saying something when that officer, I watched from my window. I saw everything, and I did nothing. I'm so ashamed. Lena and I exchanged glances. I'm not looking for forgiveness, Mrs. Mitchell continued. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that not everyone on this street feels the way he did. That horrible man. Most of us, we were happy when you moved in. Young couple. Both professionals. Taking care of the house. We were happy. Most of you, I repeated. She flinched. I won't lie to you. There were a few who weren't pleased, who made comments, but they're not the majority. They're just the loudest. Did you call the police last night? Lena asked. No, God, no. Neither did anyone I've talked to. We think... She paused. We think maybe Officer Miller drives through this neighborhood regularly. Maybe he's friends with someone on this street. Maybe he saw your celebration and decided to interfere on his own. Maybe, I said, not agreeing, not disagreeing. I brought this. Mrs. Mitchell held out a casserole dish. It's not much, just a small gesture, a welcome that should have happened months ago. Lena took the dish. Thank you. And I wanted to say if you need anything, if you need someone to testify about what happened, if you need a witness, I have video. My head snapped up. Video. From my security camera, it faces the street, but it caught some of what happened in your yard. I already gave a copy to Chief Reynolds this morning, but I can give you one too, if you want it. Yes, I said immediately. Yes, we want it. I'll email it to you, if you give me your address. I rattled off my FBI email, watched her write it down with shaking hands. Thank you, Mrs. Mitchell, Lena said softly. This means more than you know. After she left, we stood there holding the casserole dish, not quite believing what just happened. One ally, Lena whispered. That's something. It's everything. We went back inside, ate Mrs. Mitchell's chicken and rice while watching the security footage on my laptop. The angle wasn't perfect, but it showed enough. Showed Miller's squad car pulling up, showed him approaching aggressively, showed the confrontation, showed the destruction. This is solid evidence, I said. Combined with everything else, the witness statements, the chief's testimony, Miller's blood alcohol level, this is an airtight case. Good. Lena's voice was steel. I want him buried. I looked at her. Baby, don't tell me to be forgiving. Don't tell me to take the high road. He destroyed our wedding, Marcus. He destroyed our things. He tried to destroy us. I want him to face every consequence. Every single one. Okay. Okay? Okay, we do this your way. We fight. We don't stop until he's behind bars and every cop like him knows they can't get away with this anymore. She kissed me, hard, fierce. I love you. I love you too. Monday morning came too fast. I put on my best suit. Dark blue, FBI shield on my belt, credentials in my pocket. Lena got ready for her shift at the hospital, 12 hours in the ER, pulling a double because someone called out sick. I can reschedule my meeting, I offered. Come with you to work. No, you need to do this. We need to do this. She straightened my tie. Go get him. The drive to police headquarters took 30 minutes. I'd been there before coordinating joint operations between the Bureau and local PD. But today felt different. Today I wasn't walking in as a colleague. I was walking in as a victim. Chief Reynolds met me in the lobby. Marcus, thank you for coming. Wouldn't miss it? He led me through security up 3 floors into his office. Mayor Collins was already there. So was a woman I didn't recognize, late 40s, sharp suit, sharper eyes. This is Captain Sarah Chen, Chief Reynolds said. Internal Affairs. She's heading the investigation into Officer Miller. Captain Chen stood, shook my hand. Agent Thorne, I'm sorry about what happened at your wedding. What Officer Miller did was inexcusable. Thank you. I need to ask you some questions. Get your full statement. It may take a while. I have all day. We sat. Captain Chen pulled out a recorder. Do you consent to this interview being recorded? Yes. Please state your name and occupation for the record. Special Agent Marcus Thorne, FBI, currently assigned to the Organized Crime Division San Francisco Field Office. How long have you been with the Bureau? 10 years. Started in white-collar crime, moved to counterterrorism, now organized crime. And you live at 1847 Maple Drive. Yes, my wife Lena and I purchased the property 6 months ago. Captain Chen nodded, pen moving across her notepad. Tell me what happened on Saturday, April 15th, starting from when you first noticed Officer Miller's arrival. So I told her. Everything, every word Miller said, every action he took, every moment of the destruction. Didn't embellish, didn't need to. The facts were damning enough. Captain Chen wrote it all down, occasionally stopped me to clarify a detail, to ask about timing, to confirm specifics. Did Officer Miller give any legitimate reason for his presence? She asked. He claimed there were complaints, noise complaints. But when Chief Reynolds asked for specifics, call numbers, complainant names, Miller couldn't provide them. And you believe there were no legitimate complaints? I know there weren't. I filed all proper permits with the city, notified neighbors, kept music at reasonable levels, had everyone park on my property, we violated no ordinances. So in your professional opinion, why did Officer Miller come to your residence? I looked her in the eye. Because he saw black people celebrating in what he considered a white neighborhood. Because he's a racist who abused his badge to terrorize us. Because he thought he could get away with it. Silence. That's a serious accusation, Captain Chen said quietly. It's the truth. We'll need to substantiate it with evidence. I can give you evidence. Miller's own words, his actions, the fact that he was drunk on duty, the fact that he destroyed property in a violent rage, the fact that he specifically targeted me and my wife based on race. Mayor Collins leaned forward. We're going to do a full audit of Officer Miller's history, every arrest he's made, every report he's filed, every complaint against him. If there's a pattern, we'll find it. There's always a pattern, I said. Men like Miller don't wake up one day and decide to be racist. It builds, it festers, it shows up in their work. You'll find it. Chief Reynolds cleared his throat. Marcus, I need to be honest with you. This is going to get messy. Miller has friends in the department, officers who'll defend him, who'll say he's a good cop who made a mistake. It wasn't a mistake, it was a choice. I agree, but we need to be prepared for pushback, for accusations that we're overreacting, for claims of reverse racism or political correctness or whatever excuse they come up with. Let them come, I said. I'm not backing down. Captain Chen closed her notepad. Agent Thorne, I want to be clear about something. This investigation will be thorough and impartial. If we find evidence of misconduct, Officer Miller will be held accountable. But I need you to understand the police union is powerful. They'll fight this. They'll drag it out. They'll make it as difficult as possible. I'm an FBI agent. I know how the system works. I know it's designed to protect cops, not victims. But I also know how to build an airtight case, how to document everything, how to make sure justice actually happens. Then we'll work together, she said, because I want justice too. After the interview, Chief Reynolds walked me out. In the hallway, away from the others, he pulled me aside. There's something you need to know, he said quietly. Miller's not the only one. We've identified at least 3 other officers who've made similar complaints about your neighborhood, about changes in this community, about declining quality. Names. I can't give you names yet, not until the investigation's further along, but I wanted you to know this is bigger than Miller. He's just the one who got caught. I nodded. Then we go after all of them. That's a war, Marcus. Then we go to war. Chief Reynolds studied me for a long moment. You sure about this? Once you start this fight, you can't stop. It'll consume your life, your career, your marriage, everything. My wedding was already consumed. My peace was already destroyed. My sense of safety in my own home was already shattered. I've got nothing left to lose and everything to gain. All right. He extended his hand. Then let's burn it all down. I shook his hand, felt the weight of what we were starting, the magnitude of the fight ahead. Walking back to my car, my phone buzzed. I turned it back on that morning, bracing for the flood. 52 voicemails, 314 text messages, 47 emails. One message caught my eye. From Agent Harrison, my colleague in cybercrimes. Marcus, you need to see this. Miller's social media. We pulled everything before he could delete it. It's bad, really bad. Call me. I called. Harrison, it's Marcus. What did you find? Everything. His voice was grim. Facebook posts about immigrants, tweets about Black Lives Matter, not supportive ones, Instagram comments on news articles about police shootings. It's all there, years of it, public, documented. This guy's a walking hate crime. Can you send it to me? Already did. Forwarded everything to Captain Chen, too. Marcus, this isn't just a bad cop. This is a domestic extremist with a badge. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. What else? Group chats. Private messages with other officers. They're talking about keeping the neighborhood clean, about handling problems before they spread, about... He paused. They mentioned your address specifically. 2 weeks before your wedding. Someone sent a screenshot of your house with a caption, "There goes the neighborhood." Ice flooded my veins. Who sent it? Officer Ryan Matthews, Miller's partner. They've been riding together for 3 years. Is Matthews being investigated? He is now, along with 5 others who were in that chat. Marcus, this is conspiracy. This is organized. This is exactly what I thought it was. I finished. A system, not an individual. A whole network of racist cops protecting each other. What do you want to do? I want names. I want evidence. I want every single one of them exposed. You've got it. I'll send you everything we have. Marcus, be careful. These guys are dangerous. They've got guns and badges and they know where you live. I'm not afraid of them. Maybe you should be. I hung up. Sat in my car outside police headquarters. Thought about Lena at the hospital saving lives. Thought about our house still recovering from Miller's destruction. Thought about every black family who'd ever been terrorized by cops and never got justice because they didn't have a badge of their own to fight back with. Made a decision, drove to the FBI field office instead of home, walked past security, took the elevator to the 6th floor, went straight to my supervisor's office. Agent Diane Chen looked up from her computer. Marcus, how'd it go with internal affairs? I need to talk to you about opening a civil rights investigation. She blinked. Into Miller. Into the entire department. Miller's not alone, he's part of a network. At least 6 officers involved in targeted harassment of minorities in my neighborhood, possibly more. Documented evidence of conspiracy, social media posts, group chats, planning and coordination. Agent Chen leaned back in her chair. That's a big accusation. I can back it up. Agent Harrison pulled Miller's digital footprint. It's extensive. And there are other officers involved. Officers who are still on duty, still armed, still harassing people. You're talking about investigating local police. That's politically complicated. I'm talking about investigating civil rights violations. That's literally our job. She studied me. Marcus, I understand you're angry. What happened at your wedding was horrible, but you need to think carefully about this. Opening a federal investigation into local police, it'll make enemies. Powerful enemies. It could impact your career. I don't care about my career. I care about justice. That's easy to say right now, but 6 months from now when you're buried in bureaucracy and politics and everyone at the department hates the FBI, will you still feel that way? I thought about Lena, about our vows, about the promises we'd made to each other and to ourselves, about building a life, not just surviving one. Yes, I said, I'll still feel that way. Because if I don't fight this, if I don't use everything I have to stop it, then what was the point of any of it? What was the point of the badge, the training, the oath I took? Agent Chen nodded slowly. All right, I'll authorize a preliminary investigation. You'll lead it. But Marcus, this stays quiet. We do it by the book. No shortcuts, no revenge. Pure evidence, pure procedure. Can you do that? Yes, ma'am. And you need to recuse yourself from anything directly involving Miller. That's personal. You can't be objective. Understood. Good. She pulled up a file on her computer. I'll draw up the authorization paperwork. You'll have a team by Wednesday. In the meantime, document everything. Every interaction with local police, every threat, every incident. I want a paper trail a mile long. Already started, she smiled. I know you did. That's why I'm approving this. Now get out of here. Go home to your wife. Enjoy what's left of your honeymoon before all hell breaks loose. I left her office feeling lighter and heavier at the same time. Lighter because I had official backing, official resources, the full weight of the federal government behind me. Heavier because I knew what was coming. The backlash, the hatred, the danger. My phone rang. Lena. Hey, baby. Marcus, where are you? Her voice was tight. Wrong. Just left the office. What's wrong? Someone vandalized our house. Everything stopped. What? I came home early from my shift. There's spray paint on the garage door, racist slurs, threats. Marcus, they threw a brick through our living room window. I was already running. Are you okay? Are you hurt? I'm fine. I'm inside with the doors locked. I called 911, but don't let anyone in. I'm 15 minutes away. Baby, I'm coming. Just stay inside and stay safe. I drove like the devil was chasing me, ran every yellow light, took corners too fast, kept Lena on the phone the whole time. Tell me what you see, I said. Describe everything. The garage door, it says... Her voice broke. It says things I can't repeat. Things about us, about you, about what they're going to do to us if we don't leave. We're not leaving. Marcus, we're not leaving. This is our home. They don't get to terrorize us out of it. They threw a brick through our window. I know, baby, and we're going to catch them. We're going to find out who did this, and we're going to prosecute them. Federal hate crime charges, civil rights violations, everything we can throw at them. What if they come back? What if next time it's not a brick? What if... Then we'll be ready. I'll call Bureau Security, get them to put a detail on the house, and I'm applying for a concealed carry permit for you. Tomorrow, you're learning to shoot. I don't want a gun in our house. Neither do I, but I want you safe more. Shh. Police sirens wailed in the background. They're here, Lena said. Don't open the door until you verify who it is. Get badge numbers, names, verify everything. Okay, I'm looking through the peephole. It's Marcus. It's 2 officers. They look young, nervous. That's good. Young means less likely to be part of Miller's network. But still verify. Ask them to hold their badges up to the peephole. I heard her talking. Heard the officers respond. Heard the door unlock. Baby, I'm here. Pulling up now. I parked behind the squad car. Ran up the driveway. Stopped dead when I saw the garage door. Go home in red spray paint, 3 feet tall, dripping, fresh. Below it, N-word lovers. Below that, this is a white neighborhood. And at the bottom, Miller had the right idea. My vision went red, hands curled into fists, every instinct screaming to find whoever did this, and Agent Thorne. I turned. One of the young officers couldn't have been more than 25. Looking sick, looking ashamed. I'm Officer Davis. This is Officer Rodriguez. We're so sorry about this. This is unacceptable. You're damn right it's unacceptable. I pushed past him, found Lena inside with Officer Rodriguez, both of them staring at the shattered window. Glass everywhere, a brick on our couch, message wrapped around it with a rubber band. I picked it up with a tissue, unfolded the paper. Leave or die. You've been warned. No signature. Typed, not handwritten, printed on regular paper. Smart. Hard to trace, but not impossible. I need evidence bags, I said to Officer Davis. And I need crime scene techs. And I need this treated as a federal hate crime because that's what it is. Sir, we'll take the report. This isn't your case. This is FBI jurisdiction. I'm the victim, and I'm also a federal agent, which makes this assault on a federal officer, which makes it federal. I pulled out my phone, called Agent Harrison. I need a crime scene team at my address. Now. Full workup. Fingerprints, DNA, trace evidence, everything. On it, Harrison said immediately. Marcus, are you okay? No, but I will be. I hung up, looked at the 2 officers. Who's working today? Which officers are on duty? Officer Davis checked his radio. Most of the shift. Why? Because whoever did this probably has a badge. Probably heard about Miller's arrest and decided to finish what he started. I want to know who's on duty, and I want their locations verified for the last 3 hours. Agent Thorne, you can't just accuse... Watch me. I moved to Lena, pulled her close. Baby, pack a bag. We're not staying here tonight. Where are we going? Hotel. Somewhere safe. Somewhere with security cameras and witnesses and people who can't get to us. I don't want to run. We're not running. We're regrouping. We're planning our next move from a position of safety instead of sitting here waiting for whoever did this to come back and escalate. Officer Rodriguez spoke up. Agent Thorne will increase patrols in this neighborhood. We'll make sure... You'll make sure nothing, no offense, but I don't trust anyone in your department right now except Chief Reynolds and Captain Chen. For all I know, you 2 could be part of this. Officer Davis looked stricken. Sir, we would never... Prove it. Find who did this. Arrest them. Until then, forgive me for not trusting people who work alongside the man who destroyed my wedding 2 days ago. FBI techs arrived 30 minutes later, photographed everything, collected evidence, dusted for prints, took the note samples of the spray paint. Agent Harrison showed up personally, looked at the damage, looked at me. Marcus, this is escalating fast. I know. We need to get you into protective custody. No. Marcus. I said no, I'm not hiding, I'm not running, I'm not giving them the satisfaction. Then at least let us put a detail on your house. 24/7 surveillance, armed agents. I looked at Lena. She nodded. Okay, I said, do it. We packed bags, enough for a week. Clothes, toiletries, Lena's medical texts because she had boards coming up and refused to let terrorism derail her career. My case files because I needed to work, needed to keep building the case against Miller and everyone like him. Where are we going? Lena asked as we loaded the car. Marriott downtown. Bureau has a corporate account. We'll be safe there. For how long? As long as it takes. We drove in silence. Left our neighborhood, our home behind. Watched it disappear in the rearview mirror. At the hotel, we checked in under fake names. Bureau security protocol. Paid in cash. Asked for a room on an upper floor away from elevators and stairs. Inside, Lena finally broke down. Collapsed on the bed. Sobbed into the pillows. I held her. Didn't say anything. What was there to say? That it would be okay, that we'd be fine, that this was just a rough patch and everything would work out. None of that was true. None of that would help, so I just held her. Let her cry. Let her rage. Let her feel everything she'd been holding back since Saturday night. When she finally quieted, exhausted and hollow-eyed, she looked at me. I want to go back to Jamaica, she whispered. I want to go home. To my real home, where people don't hate us for existing. Lena, I'm serious, Marcus. Why are we fighting this? Why are we staying in a country that doesn't want us, that terrorizes us, that lets cops destroy our lives and then vandalizes our home when we dare to fight back? Because it's our country too, because we have just as much right to be here as anyone else. because running away doesn't solve anything. Neither does staying and getting killed. No one's getting killed. How do you know? How do you know the next brick won't come through our bedroom window while we're sleeping? How do you know the next message won't be delivered with bullets instead of spray paint? I didn't know, couldn't promise her safety, couldn't guarantee anything except more pain, more fighting, more exhausting battles against a system designed to break us. But I also couldn't give up. Lena, I love you. I love you more than anything. If you really want to leave, if you really want to go back to Jamaica, or move somewhere else, or start over, I'll do it. I'll walk away from everything. The bureau, the investigation, all of it. Just say the word. She stared at me. You mean that, yes? Silence stretched between us, heavy, fragile. Then she shook her head. No, we don't run. We don't let them win. We fight. We fight until we can't fight anymore, and then we fight some more. You sure? I'm not sure about anything anymore, but I'm sure about you, about us, about the fact that if we run now, we'll regret it forever. I kissed her forehead. Then we fight. Then we fight. We fell asleep in our clothes, exhausted, traumatized, but together. And tomorrow we'd start building the case that would bring down not just Officer Miller, but the entire corrupt system that created him. Tuesday morning came with coffee that tasted like cardboard and a phone call that changed everything. Agent Chen's voice cut through the hotel room silence at 6 a.m. sharp. Marcus, we've got him. I sat up so fast Lena startled awake beside me. Got who? Officer Ryan Matthews, Miller's partner, pulled him in for questioning an hour ago about the group chat. He broke in 20 minutes, gave us everything, names, dates, a whole network of officers involved in systematic harassment of minority residents. Marcus, it's bigger than we thought. Way bigger. My heart hammered. How big? 14 officers, spanning 3 precincts, some of them supervisors. They've been coordinating for years, targeting neighborhoods, driving out families they consider undesirable. Your wedding wasn't random, it was planned. They knew you were FBI. Matthews says Miller volunteered to handle it, called it a power move. Lena grabbed my arm, mouthed the words, "What's happening?" I need to come in, I said, right now. Already got a car waiting downstairs. Agent Harrison's driving. He'll brief you on the way. I was dressed in 5 minutes. Lena, too, she wasn't staying behind, wouldn't even consider it. I'm coming with you, she said when I started to protest. Don't argue, this is my fight, too. Harrison met us in the lobby. Young guy, brilliant with computers, looked like he hadn't slept in 3 days. Probably hadn't. Mrs. Thorne, Agent Thorne. He nodded to us both. We should move. Prescott wins, something's happening. They're swarming headquarters. The drive took 15 minutes through morning traffic. Harrison talked the whole way, words spilling out rapid fire. Matthews gave us access to everything. Cloud storage encrypted chats the whole operation. They called themselves the Neighborhood Watch. Real Original Right, been operating since 2018, started small extra patrols in changing neighborhoods, aggressive stops, intimidation tactics. Escalated over time, property damage, threats. What happened to you was just the latest. How many victims? Lena asked from the back seat. Harrison's jaw tightened. At least 30 families, that we know of. Probably more who are too scared to report. Most of them moved away, sold their houses at losses, left the city entirely. That was the goal, ethnic cleansing by cop. The words hung heavy. Ethnic cleansing. In America. In our city. In 2025. Jesus Christ, I breathed. Gets worse. Some of the officers were feeding information to local real estate agents, investors who wanted to buy properties cheap after families fled. Kickback scheme. Financial motivation on top of the racism. So it's not just hate, Lena said. It's profit. It's both. They're cleaning out neighborhoods and making money doing it. Classic gentrification with a badge. We pulled up to FBI headquarters. News vans lined the street. Reporters shouting questions. Cameras everywhere. Harrison drove past them to the underground garage. Media knows something big's happening, so do you, he said. We're holding a press conference at 10. You should be there, Marcus. Me. You're the face of this, the victim who fought back. Agent Chen wants you front and center when we announce the arrests. Arrests plural, Harrison smiled. Grim, satisfied. We're picking up all 14 officers this morning. Simultaneous raids, federal charges, conspiracy to violate civil rights, wire fraud, racketeering. We're hitting them with everything. The elevator ride to the 6th floor felt like floating. Like maybe this was a dream. Like maybe I'd wake up and still be in that hotel room with nothing resolved and no justice coming. But Agent Chen was real. The war room was real. Maps on the walls showing affected neighborhoods, photos of suspects, timelines, evidence logs, 20 agents working phones and computers. Marcus, Agent Chen pulled me aside. Lena, too. I need you both to understand what's about to happen. When we make these arrests, when we go public with this investigation, there will be backlash. The police union will scream persecution. Politicians will choose sides. The media will dig into your lives. Every mistake you've ever made, every parking ticket, every argument with a neighbor, it'll all come out. They'll try to discredit you, to make this about you instead of about systemic corruption. Let them try, I said. I'm serious, Marcus. This will get ugly, personal. They'll attack Lena, too. Your marriage, your careers, everything. Lena stepped forward. Agent Chen, they already attacked our wedding. They already vandalized our home. They already terrorized us. What more can they do? Agent Chen studied her. More than you think, but I admire your courage, both of you. She turned to the room. Listen up, people. Arrest teams move in 30 minutes. I want clean operations, by the book. These officers know the system. They'll look for any excuse to claim harassment or improper procedure. Don't give them one. Understood? A chorus of affirmatives. Marcus, you're with me. We're going to brief the U.S. attorney before the press conference. Lena, Agent Rodriguez will take you to a secure waiting area. No? Lena's voice was steel. I'm staying with Marcus. I want to see this through. Agent Chen hesitated, then nodded. All right, but stay close, stay quiet, and if things get heated, you leave immediately. 32 minutes later, the first call came in. Officer Ryan Matthews, already in custody, already cooperating. Then Officer James Sullivan, Officer David Park, Officer Christina Vasquez. One by one, the names rolled in. 14 arrests in 90 minutes. Clean, professional, perfect. Officer Miller, still in county jail from Saturday night, got served with additional federal charges in his cell. Agent Chen had video from the jail showing his face when he realized the full scope of what was coming. The color draining, the panic setting in. Beautiful, Harrison muttered, watching the footage. Absolutely beautiful. By 9:30, we had all 14 in custody. By 9:45, their lawyers were screaming for press conferences of their own. By 9:55, we were walking toward the main conference room where 24 media outlets waited. You ready? Agent Chen asked me. No, but I'm doing it anyway. She pushed open the door. Camera flashes exploded. Questions shouted from every direction. Agent Chen stepped to the podium, raised one hand. Silence fell. Good morning, I'm Supervisory Special Agent Diane Chen with the FBI's San Francisco Field Office. This morning, in coordination with the Department of Justice and local authorities, the FBI executed arrest warrants for 14 current and former police officers in connection with a systematic conspiracy to violate the civil rights of minority residents in several neighborhoods throughout the city. The room erupted. Agent Chen kept talking, voice rising over the chaos. The charges include conspiracy to violate civil rights under Title 18 wire fraud, racketeering, and hate crimes. The investigation, which began following an incident this past Saturday involving Special Agent Marcus Thorne and his wife Dr. Lena Thorne, uncovered a multi-year operation targeting Black, Latino, and Asian families. The defendants used their positions as law enforcement officers to intimidate, harass, and in some cases force families from their homes. More questions, more shouting. Agent Chen gestured to me. Special Agent Thorne will make a brief statement. I stepped to the podium, saw my face reflected in a dozen camera lenses, saw reporters leaning forward, saw the weight of this moment settling on my shoulders. My name is Marcus Thorne. 10 days ago, I married the love of my life. We held our wedding reception at our home in a neighborhood we dreamed about living in. That celebration was destroyed by Officer James Miller, who arrived drunk, hurled racist abuse, and demolished our property. What we thought was an isolated incident turned out to be part of a much larger conspiracy, a conspiracy that has harmed dozens of families, that has corrupted our police force, that has turned officers who swore to protect and serve into terrorists who target people based on the color of their skin. I paused. Let the words sink in. But here's what those officers didn't count on. They didn't count on me being FBI. They didn't count on Chief Reynolds and Mayor Collins having the courage to stand up to corruption. They didn't count on every victim they'd silenced finding their voice. And they definitely didn't count on facing the full weight of federal law enforcement. Today's arrests are just the beginning. We will identify every victim. We will pursue every lead. We will dismantle this network completely, and we will make sure that no one ever has to fear the people who are supposed to protect them. The room exploded again, questions flying. Agent Thorne, how do you respond to claims that this is a witch hunt? Agent Thorne, the police union is calling this political persecution. Doctor Thorne, how has this affected your marriage? Agent Chen stepped back to the podium. We're not taking questions at this time. Full details are available in the press packet. Thank you. We left through the side door, heard the questions continuing and reporters shouting the building chaos of a story that would dominate headlines for weeks. In the hallway, Mayor Collins waited with Chief Reynolds. Both men looked exhausted, relieved, vindicated. Marcus. Chief Reynolds gripped my shoulder. That was perfect. Exactly what needed to be said. It was the truth. Truth doesn't always play well in the media, but you made it impossible to spin. The union's already scrambling. They released a statement calling the arrest premature, but nobody's buying it. Not with 14 officers arrested simultaneously on federal charges. Mayor Collins checked his phone. Social media is exploding. Video of your statement has 500,000 views already. Marcus, you're about to become very famous. I don't want to be famous. I want justice. You're going to get both, Agent Chen said, whether you want it or not. Marcus, Lena, you should prepare for media requests, interview offers, book deals probably. Everyone's going to want your story. Lena spoke for the first time since the press conference. We're not interested in profiting from this. I understand, but you should still be prepared, and you might consider doing select interviews controlling the narrative before others control it for you. We'll think about it, I said, not committing, not ready to process any of this yet. My phone buzzed. Text from James. My best man. Brother, I'm watching the news. You're a hero. Call me when you can. Another text. My mother. Baby, I'm so proud of you. Come for dinner tonight. You and Lena both. We need to celebrate. Dozens more rolling in, friends, family, colleagues, everyone reaching out, everyone watching. Everyone suddenly aware that our private pain had become a public crusade. We should get you both somewhere safe, Agent Chen said. The hotel's compromised. Media probably figured out where you're staying by now. We can't hide forever, Lena said. No, but you can hide until the initial frenzy dies down. Give it a week. Let the story develop. Let the focus shift from you to the evidence. Then you can go home. Home. The word tasted bitter. Our home vandalized violated no longer the sanctuary we'd imagined. We're posting guards, Chief Reynolds said. Round the clock, until this is resolved. Until every suspect is prosecuted and this network is completely dismantled. How long will that take? Lena asked. Months, maybe a year. Federal cases move slow, but we'll keep you safe in the meantime. We relocated to a different hotel. Better security, higher floor. Fake names that actually worked this time. Agent Harrison personally swept the room for bugs. Paranoid maybe, but after everything, paranoia felt reasonable. You're clean? He said. I'll be in the room next door. Anything weird, call immediately. And I mean anything. Strange phone calls, unfamiliar faces, cars that seem to be following you, report it all. After he left, Lena and I collapsed on the bed, stared at the ceiling, processed nothing and everything simultaneously. Did that really just happen? Lena whispered. Yeah. 14 arrests, federal charges, a press conference where you called out systemic racism on national television. Yeah. Marcus, our lives just changed forever. I know, she rolled toward me. Are you scared? Terrified. Me too. She took my hand. But also I'm proud. Of you, of us, of what we're doing. We didn't choose this. No, but we're handling it. We're fighting back. That matters. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Agent Thorne. Speaking. This is Assistant U.S. Attorney Rebecca Martinez. I'm lead prosecutor on the case against the 14 officers. We need to meet. Tomorrow morning, my office. Bring Dr. Thorne if she's willing. We may need her testimony too. We'll be there. Good. Agent Thorne, I want you to know something. This case, it's career-defining for everyone involved. We're going to win. We're going to put these officers away for years. But it's going to be a war. Their lawyers are the best the union can buy. They'll challenge everything, attack everything, try to create reasonable doubt where none exists. We need you strong. We need you prepared. Can you do that? Yes, ma'am. Then I'll see you tomorrow. 9 a.m., don't be late. She hung up. No goodbye. Just facts and expectations and the implicit understanding that we'd crossed a threshold. No going back now. Wednesday morning arrived too fast. Lena wore her professional clothes, slacks, and a blouse doctor mode. I wore my suit FBI shield visible on my belt. We looked like what we were, respectable, successful, unshakable, even if inside we were anything but. The U.S. Attorney's Office occupied 3 floors of a federal building downtown. Security buzzed us through. An assistant led us to a conference room where Rebecca Martinez waited with 3 other attorneys and a stack of folders that could have doubled as a weapon. Agent Thorne, Dr. Thorne, thank you for coming. Martinez was 50-something sharp-eyed with the energy of someone who survived on coffee and righteous anger. Let's get started. We have a lot to cover. The next 4 hours were brutal. They walked us through every detail of Saturday night. Every word Miller spoke, every action he took, every witness who saw it. Then they moved to the vandalism, the spray paint, the brick, the threatening note. Then wider the pattern of harassment other families experienced. The conspiracy, the network. We have testimony from 8 other families who were targeted, Martinez said. Similar incidents, property damage, threats, police showing up without cause. Some of them have video evidence. Others have documentation, police reports that were never filed, complaints that disappeared. Disappeared how? Lena asked. Internal affairs complaints that were marked resolved without investigation. Misconduct reports that were buried. The system protecting its own. But we have copies. Victims kept their own records. They knew something was wrong. They just didn't have the power to fight it. Until now, one of the other attorneys said. His name was David Chen, no relation to Agent Chen. Corporate lawyer turned federal prosecutor. Until an FBI agent became a victim. Until someone with resources and training in federal jurisdiction got targeted. That changed everything. It shouldn't have taken an FBI agent, I said quietly. It should have been enough that any citizen was being terrorized. That's the real problem. That's what needs to change. Martinez nodded. You're right, and that's going to be part of our argument. That this happened because the system is broken, because there's no accountability, because officers believe they can do anything without consequences. She pulled out another folder. Which brings me to something difficult. Marcus, we need to talk about your background. My background. The defense is going to dig. They're going to look for anything that makes you less sympathetic. Any arrests, any complaints, any skeletons. We need to know what they're going to find before they find it. There's nothing. I've never been arrested. Never had complaints filed against me. Clean record personally and professionally. What about college, high school? Any fights? Any incidents? I thought back. 1 suspension senior year of high school. Got into a shoving match with another student who called my girlfriend not Lena. This was years earlier, a racial slur. Principal suspended us both. 3 days. Martinez made notes. That's fine. Actually helps our case shows a history of standing up to racism. What else? Nothing. I was a good kid, good student, joined the bureau right out of college, worked my way up, clean record. Lena, my wife straightened. Nothing. I've never even had a speeding ticket. I went to medical school, did my residency, became an ER doctor. My life is hospital shifts and medical journals, not exactly controversial. Good. Martinez closed the folder. The defense will still try to make this about you, about your character, about whether you somehow provoked Miller. It won't work, but they'll try. You need to be ready for that. For attacks, for lies, for your entire life being scrutinized. We're ready, Lena said. Her voice didn't shake. The meeting lasted until 2 p.m. When we finally left, my brain felt like mush. Too much information, too many details, too many ways this could go wrong. Lunch? Lena suggested. I'm not hungry. Neither am I, but we should eat anyway. Keep our strength up. This is a marathon, not a sprint. We found a diner 3 blocks away, ordered sandwiches we barely touched, sat in a corner booth and watched the world continue like nothing had changed. Like 14 cops weren't sitting in federal custody. Like our lives weren't imploding on national news. Marcus, Lena's voice pulled me back. Where'd you go, Luke? Just thinking. About how? Everything. What Martinez said about it taking an FBI agent to get justice. About all the families who were targeted before us, who didn't have resources or power or federal jurisdiction, who just had to suffer and leave and accept it. You can't fix everything. Why not? Why can't we? We have the platform now. We have attention. Why not use it to help everyone, not just ourselves? Lena reached across the table, took my hand. Because that's not your job. Your job is to testify, to make sure these 14 officers go to prison, to fix the system that allowed this to happen. You can't personally save every victim. But we could try. Set up a fund. Legal aid for families who were targeted. Help them fight back. Sue the city. Sue the department. Make this so expensive, so public, so damaging that no police force ever tries it again. You're talking about a crusade. I'm talking about justice. She studied me. All right, let's do it. After the trial, after the convictions, after we've won. Then we start a fund. We help other families. We turn this nightmare into something that actually makes a difference. Deal. Deal. We shook on it. Sealing a promise neither of us was sure we could keep, but we'd try. God help us, we'd try. Thursday brought new complications. The police union held their own press conference. Union President Mike Donovan, red-faced and angry, called the arrests politically motivated, called them a witch hunt, said the officers were being railroaded by an FBI looking to make headlines. These are good men and women, Donovan said, voice rising. They've dedicated their lives to protecting this city, and now they're being destroyed by accusations from one disgruntled agent who can't handle legitimate police work. I watched it on the hotel TV, felt rage building. Lena put her hand on my arm. Don't. He's baiting you. They want you to respond, to engage. Don't give them that. He called me disgruntled, like Miller didn't crash our wedding drunk and destroy everything, like that was legitimate police work. I know, and everyone else knows too. Nobody's buying what he's selling. She was right. The media response to Donovan's conference was brutal. Reporters tore apart his claims, posted video evidence, interviewed victims. Within hours, the narrative had shifted completely. Now Donovan looked like he was defending the indefensible. Agent Chen called around 6 p.m. Did you see the union presser? Yeah? Good, because we need to respond. Not officially, the investigation speaks for itself, but you should consider doing an interview, something sympathetic, something that humanizes you and Lena, shows you're not the villain Donovan's trying to paint. What outlet? 60 Minutes wants you, so does CNN, NBC, take your pick. I looked at Lena, mouthed the words, "What do you think?" She thought for a moment, then nodded. 60 Minutes, I told Agent Chen. But we do it together, me and Lena, and we tell the whole story. Not just Saturday night, everything. The vandalism, the threats, the families who came before us, all of it. I'll set it up. They'll probably want to shoot early next week. The interview happened Monday afternoon. They came to us, couldn't risk a public location. Set up cameras in a hotel conference room. The correspondent was Linda Shaw, veteran journalist known for tough questions and tougher follow-ups. Special Agent Thorne, Dr. Thorne, thank you for sitting down with us. Thank you for having us, Lena said, calm, composed, every inch the professional. Let's start with Saturday, April 15th, your wedding day. Tell me what happened. So we did. Tag-teamed the story. I talked about Miller's arrival. Lena talked about the fear. I talked about revealing my FBI credentials. Lena talked about watching our celebration destroyed. Back and forth, building the narrative, making it real. Shaw didn't interrupt. Let us talk. Let the story breathe. When we finished, she leaned forward. You're both successful professionals, FBI agent, ER doctor. You did everything right. Bought a house in a good neighborhood, followed the rules, and still you were targeted. What does that tell you about America in 2025? I met her eyes. It tells me that racism doesn't care about credentials, doesn't care about badges or degrees or achievements. It sees skin color and makes judgments. It tells me that the system is broken, that we need reform, that we need accountability, and that if it can happen to an FBI agent, it can happen to anyone. Do you think Officer Miller would have done this if you were white? No, absolutely not. This was targeted. This was racial. Miller saw black people celebrating in what he considered a white neighborhood and decided to put us in our place. That's what this was. That's what it's always been. The police union says you're making this about race when it wasn't, Lena cut in. I'm sorry, but that's ridiculous. Miller's own social media is full of racist posts. The group chat with other officers talks explicitly about keeping neighborhoods white. The evidence is overwhelming. This was absolutely about race. Anyone saying otherwise is either lying or delusional. Shaw turned to her. Dr. Thorne, you're an ER doctor. You save lives for a living. How did it feel watching a police officer, someone who's supposed to protect people, destroy your wedding? Lena's composure cracked slightly. It felt like being violated, like being told that no matter what we achieve, no matter what we accomplish, we'll never be safe, we'll never be equal, we'll always be targets. And yet you're staying. You're fighting back instead of leaving. Why? Because running doesn't solve anything, Lena said firmly. Because this is our home too. Because if we don't stand up, who will? The next family? The one after that? No. We draw the line here. We fight here. We win here. The interview lasted 90 minutes. They'd edit it down to maybe 15 for broadcast. But those 15 minutes would matter, would shape how people saw us, saw the case, saw everything. When they finished shooting, Shaw turned off her microphone and looked at us. Off the record, you two are incredibly brave. This story, it's going to make a difference. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I've never seen anything quite like it. The systematic nature of the conspiracy, the courage of the victims, the fact that you're both so articulate and sympathetic. It's perfect. And I mean that in the best way. This is going to change things. Thank you, I said, meaning it. The segment aired Wednesday night. Prime time. 50 million viewers. We watched it in the hotel room holding hands, barely breathing. They opened with footage from the wedding. Video someone had taken of Lena and me dancing before Miller arrived. Happy, in love, unaware of what was coming. Then cut to aftermath footage. The destroyed cake, the broken glass, Miller in handcuffs, my statement at the press conference. The whole arc of the story compressed into 15 minutes of perfect narrative. When it ended, my phone exploded. Texts, calls, emails, social media mentions. Everyone who'd ever known us reaching out. Everyone who'd seen the segment and felt something. Anger, sympathy, solidarity. Marcus, look at this. Lena held up her phone. Twitter trending topics. Our names. The case. Justice for Thorne. All 4 top spots. We broke the internet, I said. Half joking, half terrified. We told the truth. That's all we did. But truth had power. Truth had consequences. And within 24 hours, those consequences started showing. Thursday morning, Agent Chen called. Marcus, you need to see this. The tip line is overwhelmed. Hundreds of calls, other victims, other families, other cities. This isn't just your department. This is nationwide. What? Officers in Seattle, Portland, Los Angeles, Chicago, all being reported for similar behavior, similar conspiracies, similar harassment of minority families. Your story opened the floodgates. Victims who were too scared to come forward, they're coming forward now. They're filing complaints. They're demanding investigations. Marcus, you started a movement. I sat down hard. Lena beside me reading over my shoulder as Agent Chen emailed details. 47 active investigations opened in the last 2 days. 17 additional arrests made, 4 police chiefs stepping down under pressure, reform legislation being proposed in 6 states. All because we told our story. All because we refused to stay quiet. What do we do? I asked. How do we handle this? You keep doing what you're doing. Keep being visible, keep being strong, and let the system work. We've got teams handling the tip line, investigators following up on leads, prosecutors building cases. Your job is just to survive, to stay safe, to testify when the time comes. And then you change the world, or at least try to. We spent the rest of Thursday fielding interview requests, politely declining most of them, accepting a few strategic ones, local papers, community radio outlets that reached the people most affected by police harassment. Friday brought unexpected support. A letter from the ACLU offering legal assistance, another from the NAACP, civil rights organizations rallying behind us, offering resources, offering protection, offering solidarity. We're not alone in this, Lena said, reading through the letters. People are on our side. Not everyone. Did you see the comments on that news article this morning? She had. Death threats mixed with support, racist slurs alongside messages of hope, the internet being its usual Jekyll and Hyde self. We focus on the positive, she said. We focus on the families we're helping, the change we're creating. The rest is just noise. Easier said than done. But we tried. Saturday marked 1 week since the wedding. 1 week since Miller destroyed our celebration. 1 week since everything changed. Chief Reynolds called. Marcus, we've finished processing your house. You can go home if you want. We've repaired the window, removed the graffiti, installed a new security system. Guards will still be posted, but it's livable again. I don't know if we're ready. Take your time, no pressure, but your home is waiting when you are. I told Lena, expected her to say no, expected her to want more time in the safety of the hotel. Instead, she said, let's go home, let's take our house back, just like we took our wedding back. We don't let them win, not now, not ever. So we packed our bags, again, checked out of the hotel, again, drove through the city to our neighborhood, again. The house looked different, same structure, same address. But different. Violated. Changed. The garage door had fresh paint white now instead of the vandalized red. The window was new glass. The yard was pristine, like someone had scrubbed away every trace of the reception. "It's so clean," Lena whispered, "like none of it ever happened." "But it did happen. We can't forget that." "I know. I don't want to forget. I just want to move forward." We unlocked the door, stepped inside, breathed in the smell of home, familiar and foreign all at once. 2 FBI agents sat in an unmarked car across the street. Would be there 24/7 until the trial concluded. Guardian angels with badges and guns. We spent the weekend reclaiming our space, moved furniture, hung new pictures, made the house ours again. By Sunday night, it almost felt normal, almost felt like home. Monday brought news that changed everything again. Emergency call from Rebecca Martinez. "Marcus, we've got a problem. One of the 14 officers, Christina Vasquez, she wants to make a deal. Full cooperation in exchange for reduced charges, and what she's offering is explosive." "What kind of explosive?" "She's claiming there are more officers involved, higher ranks, captains, lieutenants, maybe even a deputy chief. Says the conspiracy goes deeper than we thought. Says some attacks were sanctioned from the top. Marcus, if she's telling the truth, this could bring down half the department." I looked at Lena, saw my own shock reflected in her eyes. "When do we meet her?" I asked. "Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Federal Courthouse. You don't have to be there, Ver, but I thought you'd want to hear this firsthand." "We'll be there." "Good. Marcus, this is the break we needed. With Vasquez's testimony, we don't just win the case. We dismantle the entire system. Every corrupt officer, every complicit supervisor, everyone who knew and did nothing. We burn it all down." Tuesday morning felt different, heavier, like the air itself knew something big was about to break. Lena and I drove to the federal courthouse in silence, both of us processing what Martinez had said. Higher ranks involved. Deputy chiefs. The conspiracy reaching further than anyone imagined. "What if she's lying?" Lena finally asked. "What if Vasquez is just trying to save herself? Then we verify everything she says. Triple check every claim." But Martinez wouldn't call us in unless she believed the intel was solid. Security waved us through after checking credentials. Martinez met us on the 3rd floor, looking like she'd been up all night. Coffee stains on her sleeve. Hair pulled back in a messy bun. Eyes bright with something between exhaustion and exhilaration. "They're waiting in conference room B," she said. "Vasquez and her attorney. She's nervous, scared, but she's talking, and Marcus, what she's saying, it's going to blow this case wide open." We followed her down a corridor lined with portraits of former judges, stern faces watching us pass judgment on the judged. The conference room door was unmarked. Anonymous. Martinez knocked twice, then pushed it open. Officer Christina Vasquez sat at a long table, hands folded, looking younger than her 32 years. Dark hair pulled tight. No uniform, they'd stripped her badge the day of her arrest. Beside her sat an attorney, mid-50s expensive suit, the kind of lawyer you hire when you need to cut a deal fast. "Officer Vasquez, this is Special Agent Marcus Thorne and Dr. Lena Thorne," Martinez said. "The couple Officer Miller targeted." Vasquez's eyes met mine, held for 3 seconds, then dropped. "I'm so sorry. For what happened to you, for all of it. I should have stopped it, should have said something, should have—" Her voice cracked. "Why didn't you?" I asked. "Not aggressive, just direct." "Because I was scared. Because they told me what happens to snitches. Because I saw what they did to Officer Raymond 2 years ago when he tried to report misconduct. They destroyed him, fabricated complaints, made his life hell until he quit. I didn't want that. So I stayed quiet. And people got hurt. Families got hurt. You got hurt. And I have to live with that." Her attorney cleared his throat. "My client is prepared to offer full cooperation in exchange for immunity on the conspiracy charges. She'll testify against every officer involved. She'll provide documentation recordings, everything you need to build cases against the higher-ups." Martinez leaned forward. "Start from the beginning. How did this network form? Who organized it?" Vasquez took a shaky breath. "It started in 2016. Deputy Chief Richard Carmichael, he's been with the department 30 years. Old school. Believes in the way things used to be. When neighborhoods were segregated. When property values were protected. When people knew their place." The last 3 words dripped with venom. Self-loathing. Recognition of the ugliness she'd been part of. Carmichael started small. Just talk. Complaining about how the city was changing. How diversity was bringing down neighborhoods. How we needed to take action. Some officers ignored him, but others listened. Miller listened. Matthews listened. Sullivan. Park. All of us. How many? Martinez asked. At first, maybe 6, but it grew. Carmichael recruited carefully. Only officers he knew shared his views, only ones he could trust to stay quiet. By 2018, we had 14 active members. By 2020, we had 23. I felt Lena's hand grip mine under the table. 23, Martinez repeated. You're telling me 23 officers were actively involved in this conspiracy? Active members, yes, but there were others, officers who knew what was happening but didn't participate. Supervisors who looked the other way, captains who buried complaints. The whole system was infected. Not everyone was racist, but enough people were complicit that it didn't matter. Names, Martinez said. I need every name. Vasquez's attorney slid a document across the table. 3 pages, single-spaced, names and badge numbers and brief descriptions of involvement. Martinez scanned it, face growing harder with each line. Jesus Christ, she breathed. Captain Morrison, he's in charge of internal affairs. He's supposed to investigate misconduct. That's why we got away with it for so long, Vasquez said. Morrison killed every complaint that could have exposed us, marked them unfounded, claimed victims were unreliable, did everything possible to protect the network. And Deputy Chief Carmichael, I asked, what was his role? He was the architect, the mastermind. He identified target neighborhoods, assigned officers to patrol them, coordinated actions. He kept records of every family we pushed out, called it the success log, documented addresses, dates, methods used. He was proud of it, thought he was saving the city. Where are these records? Martinez demanded. Encrypted files on his personal computer. I have the password. He gave it to all active members in case something happened to him. Didn't want the operation to die with him. Martinez was already on her phone. I'm getting a warrant for Carmichael's home and office right now. We seize everything, computers, phones, paper, files, all of it. She looked at Vasquez. If you're lying to us, if this is some scheme to reduce your sentence with false information, I'm not lying. Vasquez's voice rose. I'm done lying. I'm done being part of this. I joined the force to help people, to make a difference. And instead, I became a monster. I became exactly what I swore to fight against. So no, I'm not lying. I'm trying to fix what I helped break. Silence fell. Heavy, uncomfortable. Lena spoke for the first time. How many families? How many people did you hurt? Vasquez's eyes filled with tears. I don't know the exact number. Dozens, maybe more. We kept pushing and pushing. Some families fought back. Most just left, moved away, sold their houses at losses, went somewhere they felt safer, and we counted it as a win. We actually celebrated, had drinks after successful operations, laughed about it like it was a game. It wasn't a game, Lena said quietly. It was terrorism. You terrorized innocent people because of their race, because they had the audacity to want safe neighborhoods for their families. You destroyed lives. You destroyed communities. You destroyed trust in the very people who are supposed to protect us. I know, Vasquez was crying now. I know what we did. I know what I am. And I can't change it. Can't take it back. Can't undo the damage. All I can do is help you stop it. Help you make sure it never happens again. Martinez pulled out a recorder. Officer Vasquez, I'm going to need you to repeat everything you just told us, on the record, with specific dates, times, incidents, every detail you can remember. This testimony will be the foundation of our case against Carmichael and the others. Are you prepared to do that? Yes. And you understand that your testimony will make you a target, that other officers will hate you, that you'll need protection, that your life as you knew it is over. I understand. I'm ready. The next 6 hours were brutal. Vasquez talked. Martinez questioned. We listened. Story after story of harassment, of families terrorized, of the systematic destruction of community and safety and basic human dignity. The Johnson family pushed out after finding dog feces smeared on their front door 3 times in 1 month. Officers responding to their calls for help but doing nothing, suggesting maybe they should move somewhere more suitable. The Chen family pulled over 7 times in 2 weeks. Every single stop resulting in vehicle searches, license checks, intimidation. Their teenage son developing anxiety so severe he stopped leaving the house. The Rodriguez family cited for noise violations despite having documentation that their gatherings or meetings were within legal limits. Fined repeatedly, harassed constantly, eventually selling their home and moving to a different city entirely, and on and on. 38 families total. 38 families who whose lives were upended because they had the wrong skin color in the wrong neighborhood at the wrong time. Why now? I finally asked when Vasquez paused for water. Why are you coming forward now? What changed? She looked at me directly. Because when I saw what Miller did to your wedding, when I saw him throwing that cake and destroying everything I saw myself, I saw what we'd all become, and I couldn't be that anymore. I have a daughter, Agent Thorne. She's 5. And I thought about her growing up, about her learning what her mother did, about her asking why Mommy helped hurt people, and I couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't look at her and pretend I was a hero when I was really a villain. Does she know? Lena asked. Your daughter, does she know you were arrested? My ex-husband has her. Told her Mommy's away for work. She doesn't understand yet, but she will. Eventually she'll know what I did. And I want her to also know that I tried to make it right, that I chose justice over loyalty, that I chose truth over protection. That matters. That has to matter. It does, Lena said softly. It won't erase what you did, but it matters. By 4 p.m., Martinez had everything she needed. Hours of testimony, names, dates, details, the password to Carmichael's encrypted files. Enough evidence to not just prosecute the original 14 officers, but to expand the case to 23, to go after supervisors, to demand accountability at the highest levels. We're executing warrants tonight, Martinez said. 8 p.m., simultaneous arrests of Carmichael and 6 others. Marcus, I want you there. Not as an agent, this is U.S. Marshal's operation, but as a witness, as a reminder of why we're doing this. I'll be there. Lena, you should stay home. Stay safe. This could get messy. But Lena shook her head. No, where Marcus goes, I go. We're in this together. Martinez studied her, then nodded. All right, but you stay in the vehicle, both of you. You watch from a distance. If anything goes wrong, the marshals will handle it. Clear. Clear. We left the courthouse as evening settled over the city. The sun hung low, painting everything gold and red, beautiful and ominous all at once. Are you scared? Lena asked as we drove home. Yeah, terrified, but also relieved, like finally we're getting somewhere, finally the truth is coming out. Truth's the easy part, justice is harder. I know, but we're going to get it. I can feel it. At home, we changed into dark clothes, practical, warm. Martinez had warned the operation might take hours. We ate a quick dinner, leftover pasta that tasted like cardboard. Neither of us had appetite, but we forced it down anyway. Fuel for whatever came next. 7:30 p.m. An unmarked FBI vehicle pulled up, Agent Harrison behind the wheel looking grim and determined. Ready? He asked when we climbed in. As will ever be. He drove us across the city to an upscale neighborhood. Tree-lined streets, big houses, manicured lawns, the kind of place people worked their whole lives to afford, the kind of place Deputy Chief Richard Carmichael called home. 5 other vehicles waited 2 blocks away. U.S. Marshals, FBI, ATF even brought in because Carmichael was known to have an extensive gun collection and nobody wanted surprises. Martinez stood with a cluster of federal agents radio in hand coordinating. 8 minutes, she said when she saw us. Carmichael's home, wife's home, 2 teenage kids. We've got social services standing by in case the kids need immediate placement. We've got medical on standby in case this goes bad. And we've got enough firepower to take down a small army if Carmichael decides to make this a siege. You think he will? I asked. He spent 8 years building this network, protecting it, profiting from it, and now it's collapsing around him. Men like that don't surrender quietly. They go down fighting, or they go down fleeing. Either way, we're ready. 8 p.m. struck. Martinez lifted her radio. All units move in. I repeat, all units move in. Execute warrants. Subjects should be considered armed and dangerous. Use appropriate caution. The vehicles rolled forward in formation. Smooth, synchronized, professional. We stayed back watching from Harrison's car as federal agents surrounded Carmichael's house. Lights blazing, shouting. The front door kicked in. More shouting. Then nothing for 30 seconds that felt like 30 hours. Martinez's radio crackled. Carmichael in custody. No shots fired. Repeat, no shots fired. Securing the premises now. Lena exhaled hard. Thank God. That's one, I said. 6 more to go. Over the next 90 minutes. Reports came in. Captain Morrison, arrested at his mistress's apartment trying to flee, caught 3 blocks away. Lieutenant Davis arrested at a bar, drunk and belligerent, fighting marshals until they tased him. Sergeant Williams, arrested at home, went quietly, looked almost relieved. 3 more arrests, all clean, all successful. By 9:30 p.m., Martinez had all 7 in custody, 7 more officers, 7 more pieces of the conspiracy, 7 more steps toward justice. "We did it," Harrison breathed. "We actually did it." "We're not done yet," Martinez said. "These arrests are just the beginning. Now comes the hard part, building cases that stick, making sure every charge holds up, making sure these officers go to prison for years, not months." She turned to me. "Marcus, how fast can you pull together beta victim impact statements? We need families willing to testify, to go on record, to tell their stories in court." "I can start tonight. Make calls. Reach out to everyone we've identified." "Do it. We need as many voices as possible. The more victims who testify, the harder it is for defense attorneys to claim this was isolated or exaggerated. We bury them in evidence, in testimony, in the sheer weight of what they did." We drove home near midnight. Exhausted, wired, unable to process everything that had happened in one day. 30 officers, Lena said as we climbed into bed. 30 officers involved in terrorizing families. 30 people who swore to protect and serve using their badges to destroy. How does that happen? Power without accountability, racism without consequences, a system designed to protect cops instead of citizens. It happens because we let it happen, because we don't demand better. Don't force change. Until now. Until now. Wednesday morning brought chaos. News of the additional arrests leaked before Martinez could hold a press conference. Media frenzy. Speculation running wild. The police union president holding an emergency briefing face purple with rage, calling it a coup. An attack on law enforcement. Political persecution. Nobody was listening. Not anymore. The evidence was too overwhelming. The testimony too damning. Public opinion had shifted completely. Polls showed 83% of residents supported the federal investigation. 77% wanted the entire department leadership replaced. 69% supported independent civilian oversight. Mayor Collins announced a complete audit of the police department. Every officer, every complaint, every use of force, everything under investigation. Chief Reynolds announced his resignation effective immediately, saying he'd failed to identify and stop the conspiracy and therefore didn't deserve to continue leading. "I should have known," Reynolds said at his resignation press conference, voice cracking. "I should have seen the signs, should have investigated deeper, should have protected the families who came to me for help. I didn't. And that failure is unforgivable. I'm stepping down so that someone better, someone untainted, can rebuild what we've broken." It was the right move, the necessary move. But watching it, I felt something like sympathy. Reynolds had tried, had arrested Miller immediately, had supported the investigation, but he'd been too late. The damage was already done. "He's a good man who failed," Lena said, watching the broadcast. "There's tragedy in that. There's tragedy in all of this." I spent Wednesday and Thursday making calls, reaching out to the 38 families Vasquez had identified. Some were eager to testify. Relieved that finally someone was listening. Some were hesitant, scared of retaliation, scared of reliving trauma. I didn't push, just offered support, offered resources, told them they weren't alone. By Friday, I had 22 families committed to testifying. 22 voices, 22 stories, 22 hammers to bring down on the officers who'd terrorized them. Martinez was ecstatic. "This is perfect. More than enough. Marcus, you've done incredible work. These families, they're the heart of our case. Their testimony will be devastating." "When's the trial?" "Not for months, maybe a year. Federal cases move slow. Defense will file every motion imaginable. Try to delay. Try to dismiss. Try to suppress evidence, but will prevail. The evidence is too strong. The testimony too credible. We're going to win." "And then what after we win? After these officers are in prison? What changes?" Martinez leaned back in her chair. "Everything if we do this right. We're not just prosecuting individual officers, we're exposing systemic rot, and that exposure forces change. New policies, new oversight, new leadership. The whole department has to rebuild from scratch, and other departments around the country are watching. They're seeing what happens when corruption gets exposed. They're scared, as they should be." I wanted to believe her, wanted to believe this would make a difference, that our pain would translate into progress, that other families wouldn't have to suffer what we'd suffered. But I'd been a federal agent too long to be naive. I knew how systems worked, how they resisted change, how they protected themselves. This was a battle, not the war, and wars could be lost even after winning battles. "What are you thinking?" Lena asked that night as we sat on our back porch looking at stars. That we're in the middle of something huge, something that could actually change things, but also that it could all fall apart, that defense attorneys could win on technicalities, that juries could side with cops over victims, that the system could find a way to protect its own like it always does. You don't believe that. Part of me does, the cynical part, the part that's seen too many cases collapse, too many guilty people walk free. But the other part believes we can win, that justice is possible, that telling our story mattered, that all these families coming forward, all this evidence, all this attention, it adds up to something real, something that can't be ignored or dismissed or swept away. Which part is right? I don't know, but I'm going to fight like the hopeful part is right and prepare like the cynical part is right. Cover all bases. She took my hand. Smart strategy? I learned from the best. Who your FBI instructors? No, you, watching you in the ER, staying calm under pressure, preparing for every contingency, hoping for the best but ready for the worst. You've been teaching me that since we met. She kissed my cheek. Then let's both prepare, let's both hope, and let's both keep fighting until this is done. Saturday morning brought unexpected visitors. Mrs. Mitchell from down the street accompanied by 3 other neighbors. All older, all white, all looking uncomfortable but determined. "Agent Thorne, Dr. Thorne," Mrs. Mitchell said when I opened the door. "We wanted to talk to you if you have time." "Of course, come in." They filed into our living room, perched on the edges of chairs and couches, looked at each other like they were about to jump off a cliff. "We've been talking," Mrs. Mitchell finally said. "The neighbors, about everything that's happened, about the officers, about what they did, and we wanted you to know we want to help." "Help how?" Lena asked. "Testimony," another neighbor said. His name was Robert Chen, no relation to any of the other Chens in this story. Retired accountant. "Some of us saw things over the years. Suspicious behavior. Officers who seemed to patrol this street more than others, who seemed to pay extra attention to certain houses. We didn't think much of it at the time, but now, looking back, connecting dots, we realize what was happening. And we're ashamed," a third neighbor added. Margaret Washington, widow, former teacher. "Ashamed we didn't speak up. Ashamed we didn't protect the families being targeted. Ashamed we benefited from their fear while pretending we didn't notice." "So we want to testify," Mrs. Mitchell finished. "We want to tell prosecutors what we saw, what we ignored. We want to help make this right." I looked at Lena, saw the same mixture of surprise and gratitude I felt. "That would mean a lot," I said quietly. "Not just to us, to all the families who were hurt. To know that some neighbors cared. Some neighbors saw. Some neighbors chose justice over silence." "It's the least we can do," Robert said. "Though honestly, it feels like too little too late." "It's not too late," Lena assured him. "Justice moves slow, but it moves, and your testimony could make the difference. Could corroborate victim accounts, could show this was visible, that people saw it happening. That adds weight, that adds credibility." "Then we'll do it," Mrs. Mitchell said firmly. "Whatever you need. Statements, testimony, court appearances, we're ready." After they left, Lena and I sat in the living room processing. 4 more witnesses, she said. 4 more voices. Marcus, this is building. This is becoming something bigger than us, something that might actually work. I think you're right. So what's next? Next, we keep building, keep gathering evidence, keep preparing. The defense attorneys are going to come at us hard. They're going to try every trick, every distraction, every technicality. We need to be ready, need to be unshakable. We will be. I believed her. Had to believe her. Because the alternative, giving up, giving in, letting the bastards win, wasn't an option. Monday brought the first defense salvo. Miller's attorney filed a motion to suppress evidence claiming the arrest was politically motivated and procedurally flawed. Martinez called it desperate and frivolous, but it still had to be addressed. Still required response briefs and hearings and precious time. This is what they do, Bim, she explained over the phone. They bog down the process, make it expensive, make it exhausting, hope we'll offer a plea deal just to end it. But we're not dealing. Not this time. Not with this evidence. Tuesday brought the second salvo. An op-ed in a conservative newspaper calling the prosecution a witch hunt. Claiming the officers were being railroaded. That this was about politics, not justice. That law enforcement was under attack from radical elements who wanted to defund and destroy police. The op-ed was written by a former police chief from another state. Someone with credentials. Someone who sounded reasonable even while defending the indefensible. Ignore it, Agent Chen advised. Don't engage. Don't respond. Let the facts speak. Let the evidence speak. The court of public opinion doesn't matter. The actual court does. But it did matter. Public opinion shaped jury pools, shaped political pressure, shaped whether reforms actually happened or just got talked about then forgotten. So we couldn't completely ignore it. Wednesday I did a radio interview, local station, sympathetic host, talked about the facts, about the evidence, about the families, about justice versus politics, stayed calm, stayed factual, trusted that truth was stronger than spin. Thursday brought news that rocked everything. Officer Matthews Miller's partner, the one who'd broken first and given up the network, was found dead in his cell. Apparent suicide. Hanging. Discovered during morning rounds. Suicide. I repeated when Martinez called. You believe that... I don't know what to believe. Could be genuine. Could be that he couldn't handle the guilt and the pressure, or it could be something else, something arranged. We're investigating. FBI's taking over from jail security. But Marcus, this complicates things. Matthews was a key witness. His testimony was crucial. What about his written statements? Just the documents he gave you? Still admissible, but defense will argue they're less reliable without Matthews to confirm them under oath. They'll claim he was confused, coerced, that he recanted before dying. They'll lie, and we'll have to fight harder to overcome it. I felt rage building, rage at the system, at the corruption, at how even in death, even in defeat, these officers found ways to obstruct justice. What about Vasquez? Is she safe? We've got her in protective custody, federal facility, maximum security. Nothing's happening to her on my watch. Good, because if anything happens, if she ends up dead too, I know, the whole case falls apart. We lose our star witness. Defense claims persecution instead of prosecution. I know, Marcus. I'm protecting her. I promise. That night, Lena and I couldn't sleep. Both of us staring at the ceiling. Both of us thinking about Matthews. About whether it was really suicide. About whether we were in deeper than we'd realized. What if they come after us? Lena whispered. What if whoever killed Matthews, if someone did kill him, decides we're a threat too? We've got protection, FBI guards, security systems. We're as safe as we can be. Safe as we can be isn't the same as safe. I know, but we can't stop now. Can't back down because we're scared. That's what they want. That's how they win. I'm not suggesting we stop. I'm scared, Marcus. More scared than I've been through all of this. Before it was property damage, harassment. Terrifying but not deadly. Now someone's dead, and if it wasn't suicide, then we're fighting people willing to kill to protect themselves. I know, which means we have to be smarter, stronger, more careful, but we don't stop. She rolled toward me. Promise me something. Anything. Promise me that if this gets too dangerous, if it looks like we're going to get hurt or killed, we'll run. We'll disappear. We'll choose life over justice. I wanted to promise. Wanted to tell her we'd always choose survival. But I couldn't lie. Not to her. I promise we'll be careful. That we'll take every precaution. That we won't take unnecessary risks. But Lena, if we run, if we disappear, all of this was for nothing. All the families who came forward, they'll be abandoned. All the evidence we gathered wasted. All the hope we created destroyed. I can't do that. Can't live with that. Even if staying gets us killed? Even then, because some things are worth dying for. Justice is one of them. Stopping these officers is one of them. Making sure no other family suffers what we suffered that's worth dying for. Tears slid down her cheeks. I was afraid you'd say that. You don't have to stay. You can leave. Go somewhere safe. I'll understand. Shut up. Of course I'm staying. I just wanted you to know how scared I am, how much I want to run, but I'm not running. I'm staying. I'm fighting. I'm dying beside you if it comes to that. Because you're right. Some things are worth dying for, and you're one of them. We held each other in the darkness. Made promises we might not be able to keep. Chose courage over fear. Chose each other over safety. And prayed both of us neither religious, but desperate enough to try that it would be enough. Friday brought the autopsy results. Matthews died by hanging. Time of death estimated between 2 and 4 a.m. No signs of struggle, no defensive wounds. Toxicology showed elevated antidepressants in his system, but nothing conclusive. Officially, it's being ruled suicide, Martinez told me, but the investigation's ongoing. We're reviewing security footage. Interviewing jail staff, looking for anything that doesn't fit. So far, everything looks clean, which means either it really was suicide or whoever arranged it was very good. What do you think? She paused. Honestly, I think he killed himself. I think the guilt and the fear and the knowledge that he'd betrayed everyone he ever worked with, it broke him. I think he couldn't face trial, couldn't face prison, couldn't face his family knowing what he'd done, so he chose the easy way out. The easy way. Easier than living with it, than facing consequences, than trying to rebuild after destroying everything, yeah, the easy way. I thought about that, about whether death was easier than redemption, about whether Matthews deserved sympathy or scorn. Couldn't decide. Maybe both. Maybe neither. How does this affect the trial? I asked. We proceed without him. Vasquez is still alive and talking. We still have the documents. The encrypted files from Carmichael's computer, they're gold. Detailed records of every operation, every family targeted, every officer involved. We don't need Matthews. We have enough. You sure? I'm sure. This case is solid, Marcus. Defense is going to fight like hell, but we've got them. All 30 officers, and when we're done, they'll all be in prison where they belong. I wanted to believe her, wanted to trust that justice would prevail, but I'd learned the hard way that wanting wasn't the same as getting. That belief wasn't the same as reality. So I kept working, kept preparing, kept gathering statements and evidence and building the case that would either change everything or change nothing, depending on 12 strangers in a jury box, and I waited for the next bomb to drop. Because bombs always dropped, because this was far from over. The bomb dropped on a Tuesday in July. 4 months after the arrests, 3 months before the trial was scheduled to begin, Martinez called at 7 a.m. voice tight with controlled fury. We have a problem, a big one. I was already awake, already dressed. Lena beside me making coffee, both of us running on autopilot after months of stress. What happened? Judge Morrison, the one assigned to the case, he just recused himself. Claims he has a conflict of interest, which is bullshit. He's been on this case for 4 months. Why recuse now? Pressure, I said immediately. Someone got to him. Police union, political connections. Someone made him understand that presiding over this trial would be career suicide. That's what I think too, but I can't prove it. And now we're getting reassigned. New judge? Richard Holloway? And Marcus, he's defense-friendly. Former prosecutor who switched sides. Known for strict interpretations of procedure. For throwing out cases on technicalities. For giving cops every benefit of every doubt. My stomach dropped. Can we appeal the assignment? Already tried, denied. We're stuck with Holloway, which means we need to be perfect. Every piece of evidence properly obtained. Every witness thoroughly prepared. Every procedure followed to the letter. One mistake and he'll toss the whole case. When's our first hearing? Shoots. Friday. Preliminary motions. Defense is filing to suppress the encrypted files from Carmichael's computer, claiming the warrant was too broad, that we violated his Fourth Amendment rights. It's a reach, but with Holloway it might work. If we lose those files, we lose half our case. The success log is in those files. The documentation of every family targeted, every operation planned. It's the smoking gun. Without it, we're relying on witness testimony, which is strong but not as bulletproof as documentary evidence. I looked at Lena, saw my own fear reflected back. We'd known this wouldn't be easy, but we hadn't expected the system to work this hard against us. What do you need from me? I asked Martinez. Be at the hearing Friday, not testifying yet, just observing, but I want Holloway to see you, to remember this isn't abstract. This is about real people who were really hurt. Sometimes judges forget that. Sometimes they need reminders. Friday's hearing took place in a federal courtroom that smelled like old wood and older money. Judge Richard Holloway presided from the bench, 60-something white hair, sharp eyes that missed nothing. Defense attorneys lined one side of the room. 30 officers meant 30 lawyers, all expensive, all aggressive, all looking for blood. Martinez and her team sat opposite. Outnumbered but not outmatched. David Chen beside her plus 3 other prosecutors from the DOJ. Heavy hitters, the best available. Lena and I sat in the gallery. Front row, impossible to ignore. Holloway called the court to order. We're here on defense motions to suppress evidence obtained during the search of Deputy Chief Carmichael's residence. Counselor Mitchell, you're representing Deputy Chief Carmichael. Present your argument. Mitchell stood. Slick suit, slicker smile. Your Honor, the warrant authorizing the search of my client's home was overly broad. It allowed agents to seize any and all electronic devices without specific probable cause linking each device to criminal activity. This violates the particularity requirement of the Fourth Amendment. As such, all evidence obtained through that warrant should be suppressed. Martinez rose. Your Honor, the warrant was based on sworn testimony from Officer Vasquez identifying specific encrypted files on Deputy Chief Carmichael's personal computer. The warrant was narrowly tailored to that device and to records related to the conspiracy. Agents seized only devices reasonably likely to contain relevant evidence. This is standard procedure in conspiracy cases. Standard procedure doesn't override constitutional protections, Mitchell shot back. The government conducted a fishing expedition. They took my client's laptop, his tablet, his phone, his wife's phone, even his children's gaming devices. That's not a targeted search. That's a dragnet. Holloway leaned back. Ms. Martinez, why did agents seize the children's gaming devices? Because Deputy Chief Carmichael could have stored evidence on any device in the home. Criminals often hide data on unexpected devices precisely because they seem innocent. We were thorough, not overreaching. Or you were hoping to find something, anything, to justify an investigation driven by political pressure rather than probable cause, Mitchell said smoothly. That's a baseless accusation, Martinez snapped. Is it Agent Thorne is sitting in this courtroom right now, an FBI agent who happens to be the alleged victim, who happens to have used his federal resources to launch a vendetta against local police. Your Honor, this entire investigation is tainted by bias, by a personal grudge, by a counselor, Holloway's voice cut like ice. Keep your arguments focused on the warrant. We're not litigating the entire investigation today. Apologies, Your Honor, but the point stands. The search was unreasonably broad. The evidence should be suppressed. Holloway was silent for a long moment. Too long. I felt my heart hammering. Felt Lena's hand grip mine so tight her nails cut into my palm. I'll take this under advisement, Holloway finally said. Both sides submit briefs by Wednesday. I'll rule next Friday. Next motion. The hearing continued for 3 more hours. Motion after motion, defense trying to chip away at the case, suppress this evidence, exclude that witness, delay the trial, death by 1,000 cuts. Martinez fought each one. Passionate, precise, brilliant. But Holloway gave nothing away. No hints about how he'd rule, no indication of where his sympathies lay. When court finally adjourned, Martinez pulled us aside in the hallway. That went worse than I hoped. Holloway's considering suppressing the files. If he does, what are our chances if he suppresses, I asked. 50-50, maybe 60-40 in our favor. We still have Vasquez. We still have victim testimony. We still have the social media evidence and the group chats. But the encrypted files were our best evidence. The most damning. Without them, defense can claim the conspiracy was smaller than we allege. That Carmichael wasn't involved. That it was just a few bad apples acting independently. Which is exactly what they want, Lena said. Exactly what they want, Martinez confirmed. So we pray Holloway sees reason, and we prepare for the possibility that he doesn't. The wait was excruciating. 7 days of wondering, of running scenarios, of imagining the case falling apart because one judge decided the procedure mattered more than justice. Wednesday we submitted our brief. 47 pages of legal argument explaining why the warrant was proper, why the search was reasonable, why suppressing the evidence would reward criminals for hiding their crimes well. Friday arrived with rain and tension. Back in Holloway's courtroom. Same players, same stakes. Higher anxiety, Holloway entered. We stood. He sat. We sat. He looked at both sides with those sharp eyes. I've reviewed the briefs, considered the arguments, and I'm prepared to rule on the motion to suppress evidence from Deputy Chief Carmichael's residence. The courtroom held its breath. The Fourth Amendment protects citizens from unreasonable searches. It requires warrants to particularly describe the places to be searched and the items to be seized. This is a fundamental protection, a bulwark against government overreach. However, it is not a shield for criminals to hide behind. The warrant in this case was based on specific credible testimony from a co-conspirator identifying encrypted files on Deputy Chief Carmichael's computer. The scope of the search was reasonable given the nature of the conspiracy alleged. Agents did not randomly seize devices. They seized devices reasonably likely to contain evidence of criminal activity that is permissible under the Fourth Amendment. Relief flooded through me. Lena's hand squeezed mine. Therefore, the motion to suppress is denied. The evidence obtained from Deputy Chief Carmichael's residence will be admissible at trial. Mitchell was on his feet immediately. Your Honor, we request or denied. Next motion. The rest of the hearing was a formality. Defense lost every major motion. Holloway might be conservative, but he wasn't corrupt. He followed the law, and the law this time was on our side. Outside the courthouse, Martinez let herself smile for the first time in days. We won, not the war, but this battle. The files are in. Carmichael's success log is in. Every detail of the conspiracy is now admissible evidence. Marcus, we're in good shape. When does trial start? October 15th, 3 months. We use that time to prepare, to coordinate testimony, to make sure every victim is ready, every witness is solid, every piece of evidence is organized. When we walk into that courtroom, we're going to be a machine, efficient, unstoppable, overwhelming. And the defense will do everything possible to muddy the waters, to confuse the jury, to create doubt where none exists. But we're ready for them. We know their playbook, and we're going to beat them at their own game. Some are passed in a blur of preparation, depositions, witness prep, evidence review. I spent more time in Martinez's office than my own. Lena spent more time listening to me rehearse testimony than doing anything else. Our lives became the case. Our conversations became strategy sessions. Our dreams became nightmares about trials gone wrong. "We need a break," Lena said one August evening. We were in the kitchen, both exhausted, both running on empty. A real break, not just a night off, a week, somewhere far from here, somewhere we can breathe. The trial starts in 6 weeks. I know, which is why we need this now, before it consumes everything, before we forget how to be Marcus and Lena instead of FBI agent and witness. She was right. I knew she was right. But taking a week off felt irresponsible, felt like abandoning the families who were counting on us. 3 days? I compromised. We take 3 days, go somewhere close, recharge, come back ready for the final push. Deal. We went to a cabin in the mountains. No cell service, no internet, no connection to the outside world. Just us and trees and silence and the chance to remember who we were before all this started. The first day we slept, 16 hours straight, exhausted bodies finally given permission to rest. The second day we talked. About everything except the case. About our future. About kids maybe. About growing old together, about building a life beyond this nightmare. The third day, we made love in front of a fireplace and pretended we were normal people with normal problems living normal lives. It was a beautiful lie. We both knew it, but we needed it. Driving back. Sunday night, reality settled over us like a weight. 3 days of peace. 6 weeks of war ahead. "Whatever happens," Lena said as we pulled into our driveway, "whatever the verdict, whatever comes next, we did this right. We fought back. We gave those families a voice. We exposed the corruption. That matters. That will always matter. Even if we lose, though we're not going to lose. How do you know? Because the truth is on our side. Because the evidence is overwhelming. Because 30 cops don't get arrested by the FBI unless the case is solid. We're going to win Marcus. I feel it. I wanted her certainty, wanted to believe victory was inevitable, but I'd seen too many cases, too many times when truth wasn't enough. When evidence got excluded, or juries made emotional decisions or technicalities derailed justice. "I hope you're right," I said. "I am, you'll see." September brought the final witness preparations. 22 families, over 40 individual witnesses. Each one needed to be ready, to be calm, to tell their story clearly and powerfully without breaking down or getting angry or giving defense attorneys ammunition. I met with them individually and in groups, listened to their stories over and over, helped them find the words to describe what had been done to them, helped them understand that their pain mattered, that their voices would be heard, that justice was coming. The Johnson family, Richard and Mary, married 30 years, 3 kids, grandparents now. They sat in Martinez's conference room, and Richard cried as he described finding dog feces on his porch for the 3rd time. Mary held his hand and said in a steady voice that they'd sold their house for $60,000 less than they paid because they couldn't take the harassment anymore. "We loved that house," she said. "It was our dream home, the place we planned to retire in, and they took it from us, not with violence, not with threats, just with constant grinding pressure until we couldn't stand it anymore, until leaving felt like the only option." The Chen family, David and Susan, both engineers, teenage son Danny, who wouldn't speak at first, just sat there staring at his hands until his mother gently prompted him. "They pulled us over 7 times, Danny finally said, voice barely above a whisper. 7 times in 2 weeks. Every time I was in the car, every time they searched it, made me get out, stand on the sidewalk, treated me like a criminal. I'm 17, I've never even had a detention, and they made me feel like I was dangerous, like I didn't belong, like I was guilty of something just by existing." His voice broke. His father pulled him close. My son couldn't sleep for months, David said. Stopped going out with friends, stopped driving, developed anxiety so severe we had to get him medication and therapy. They didn't just harass us, they traumatized our child. And for what? Because we're Asian, because we bought a house in their neighborhood. Story after story, family after family, the accumulated weight of systematic cruelty, of racism weaponized through badges and authority, of lives disrupted and dreams destroyed and communities shattered. By the end of September, every witness was ready, every story polished, every testimony prepared to land like a hammer. We're as ready as we'll ever be, Martinez said at our final strategy session, October 10th, 5 days before trial. The defense is going to try 3 main strategies. One, they'll claim this was a few bad apples acting alone. We counter with Carmichael's encrypted files showing coordination and planning. 2, they'll claim the victims are exaggerating or lying. We counter with corroborating evidence videos, police reports, witness statements from neighbors. 3, they'll claim this prosecution is politically motivated. We counter by pointing out that politics doesn't manufacture evidence, that 30 officers don't get arrested without probable cause. What about Miller specifically? I asked. His case is the trigger for everything else. They're going to focus there. They'll claim he was responding to a legitimate complaint, that he was doing his job, that his actions were within department policy. We have Chief Reynolds' testimony that there was no complaint. We have Miller's blood alcohol level showing he was drunk on duty. We have video of him destroying property in a racist rage. His case is the easiest to prove. Which is why they'll fight it hardest, David Chen added. If they can create doubt about Miller, about the incident that started everything, they can create doubt about the whole conspiracy. They'll try to make it seem like an overreaction, a misunderstanding blown out of proportion. Then we make sure the jury understands exactly what happened, Martinez said firmly. We show them the video, we present the testimony, we make it impossible to see Miller's actions as anything other than what they were: criminal assault motivated by racial hatred. October 14th, the night before trial. Lena and I couldn't sleep. Both of us staring at the ceiling, both of us knowing that tomorrow would change everything. Are you scared? She asked. Terrified. Me too. What if we lose? What if the jury believes the defense? What if... Then we appeal. We fight at the next level. We never stop fighting. But what if we lose all the way? What if these officers walk free? I rolled toward her. Then we still did something that mattered. We exposed them. We brought their crimes into the light. We gave victims a platform. We forced the department to acknowledge the problem. Even if the criminal case fails, the civil cases will continue. The families can sue, can get financial compensation, can force policy changes. This isn't all or nothing, Lena. This is progress. Slow and painful, but still progress. I want it to be justice. Real justice. Prison time. Consequences. So do I. And I think we're going to get it. I think the evidence is too strong. The testimony too powerful. I think we're going to win. You sound like me now. I learned from the best. She kissed me, soft and desperate and full of hope and fear tangled together. Whatever happens tomorrow, I love you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us. I love you too, and I'm terrified and hopeful and ready to watch 30 racist cops get what they deserve. We held each other until dawn crept through the windows, then rose, dressed in our best clothes, prepared to walk into battle. The courthouse was surrounded by media and protesters. Supporters holding signs saying "Justice for Thorne" and "Prosecute police corruption." Counter-protesters with "Back the Blue" signs and angry faces. Police barriers keeping them separated. Tension thick enough to choke on. We walked through it all, heads high, hands clasped, refusing to show fear or doubt or anything except determination. Inside the courtroom was packed. Every seat filled. Victims and their families on one side, officers and their families on the other. The battle lines drawn and visible. Judge Holloway entered. All rise? We rose. Please be seated. We're here for the trial of United States versus Miller and others. 30 defendants charged with conspiracy to violate civil rights, wire fraud, and related charges. Is the government ready? Martinez stood. Ready, Your Honor. Is the defense ready? A chorus of affirmatives from 30 lawyers. Then let's proceed. Ms. Martinez, your opening statement. Martinez walked to the jury box. 12 people, 7 women, 5 men, mixed races, mixed ages. They'd been vetted extensively, questioned about bias, about views on police, about ability to be impartial. These 12 would decide everything. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this case is about power and abuse, about people who swore an oath to protect and serve using that authority to terrorize and destroy. On April 15th of this year, FBI Special Agent Marcus Thorne married Dr. Lena Thorne. They held a wedding reception at their home. A celebration, a joyous occasion, until Officer James Miller arrived. Drunk, belligerent, racist, and destroyed everything. Threw the wedding cake, smashed decorations, hurled slurs, assaulted federal agents. But Officer Miller didn't act alone. He was part of a network, a conspiracy spanning years, involving 30 officers, targeting dozens of families, systematically driving Black, Latino, and Asian residents from neighborhoods these officers wanted to keep white. She paused. Let it sink in. Over the next weeks, you'll hear from victims. You'll see evidence. You'll read the defendant's own words in group chats and social media posts. You'll see Deputy Chief Carmichael's success log documenting every family they pushed out. You'll see the truth. And the truth is these 30 officers betrayed their oaths, betrayed their community, betrayed everything law enforcement is supposed to stand for. And at the end of this trial, I'm going to ask you to hold them accountable, to find them guilty, to send a message that badge or no badge, no one is above the law. She sat down. Powerful. Perfect. Defense Attorney Mitchell stood for the defense. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Robert Mitchell, and I represent Deputy Chief Carmichael. My colleagues and I are here because 30 good officers are being railroaded by a politically motivated prosecution driven by one FBI agent with a grudge. Yes, Officer Miller made mistakes. Yes, he handled the Thorns' reception poorly, but that doesn't make him a racist. That doesn't make him a conspirator, and it certainly doesn't justify destroying the careers and lives of 29 other officers who did nothing wrong. He gestured to the defendants. Sitting in 2 rows, some in suits, some looking defiant, some looking scared. The government wants you to believe there was a vast conspiracy, a network spanning years. But where's the evidence? A few emails, some group chat messages, officer talk, gallows humor. Things that sound bad out of context but are perfectly innocent when you understand police culture. These men and women dedicated their lives to keeping our city safe, and now they're being punished because one agent couldn't handle legitimate police work. The government will parade victims before you, people claiming they were harassed. But you'll notice something. They all have one thing in common. They were difficult. They caused problems. They had legitimate issues with neighbors, with noise violations, with parking problems. Officers responded appropriately to complaints, did their jobs, and now they're being called racists and criminals. He looked at each juror. Don't let emotion override reason. Don't let a compelling narrative override facts. These are good officers who deserve the presumption of innocence, and I trust that when you've heard all the evidence, you'll see this prosecution for what it is, a witch hunt. Thank you. He sat down, smug, satisfied, believing he'd planted doubt. Martinez stood again. Your Honor, the government calls Special Agent Marcus Thorne. This was it, my moment, everything I'd prepared for, everything I'd rehearsed. I stood, walked to the witness stand, placed my hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth. Martinez approached. Agent Thorne, please tell the jury about April 15th. So I did. Told them about the wedding, about the joy, about Miller's arrival, about the hatred in his eyes and the venom in his words, about revealing my FBI credentials and watching him destroy our celebration anyway, about the cake and the gifts and the flowers all trampled and ruined while 40 witnesses watched. What did you feel in that moment? Martinez asked. Violated, humiliated, enraged, but also determined, because I knew this wasn't just about me. This was about every family who'd been targeted before us, every victim who didn't have the resources or authority to fight back. And I decided right then that I would use everything I had, my badge, my training, my platform, to make sure Officer Miller and everyone like him faced consequences. And that's what you did. That's what I did. Martinez showed video to the jury. The wedding before Miller arrived. Happy faces, dancing, celebration, then footage from after. The destruction, the chaos, the broken cake and shattered glass. You could hear people gasping in the jury box. No further questions, Your Honor. Mitchell stood for cross-examination, smiled like a shark. Agent Thorne, you said you decided to use your badge and authority to go after Officer Miller. Isn't that an abuse of power using federal resources for a personal vendetta? No, it's called doing my job. When I uncovered evidence of a criminal conspiracy, I pursued it. That's what FBI agents do. But you had a personal stake, a personal bias. You weren't objective. I was the victim. Victims are allowed to report crimes. Allowed to seek justice, my badge didn't make me less of a victim, it just gave me the tools to fight back. Fight back, Mitchell repeated. Interesting choice of words. This was a fight to you, a personal battle? This was justice. There's a difference. Is there? You seem pretty invested in seeing these officers convicted. I'm invested in seeing justice done, in seeing criminals punished, in seeing a corrupt system exposed and reformed. If that makes me biased, then every prosecutor in America is biased. Every victim who testifies is biased. Bias doesn't override truth. Mitchell tried for another angle. You claim Officer Miller was drunk, but the breathalyzer showed .12. That's barely over the limit. Hardly drunk and disorderly. He was on duty, in uniform, carrying a firearm. Any alcohol is unacceptable, and .12 isn't barely over, it's significantly impaired. He shouldn't have been driving, shouldn't have been working, shouldn't have been anywhere near our property. Yet he responded to what he believed was a complaint. There was no complaint. Chief Reynolds confirmed that. Miller lied. He came to our house because he wanted to, because he saw black people celebrating and decided to put us in our place. You're speculating about his motivations. I'm reading his social media posts, his group chat messages, his own words. He's a racist who weaponized his badge. That's not speculation, that's documentation. Mitchell tried for 2 more hours to shake me, to create doubt, to make me look biased or vengeful or unreliable. Failed every time. I'd been trained for hostile questioning, had testified in dozens of trials, knew how to stay calm, how to stick to facts, how to never give an inch. When he finally sat down defeated, Martinez had one redirect question. Agent Thorne, if Officer Miller hadn't crashed your wedding, if he'd left you alone, would any of this have happened? No. I would have lived my life, raised my family, done my job. I never wanted to be here, never wanted to be a victim or a crusader or a symbol, but Miller forced this. The conspiracy forced this, and now we're here, and I'm going to see it through to the end. No further questions. The trial continued for 3 weeks. Witness after witness. Victim after victim. The Johnson family describing their harassment, the Chen family describing their terror. 22 families telling 22 variations of the same story. Officer after officer targeting them, pressuring them, driving them out. Then came the documentary evidence. Carmichael's encrypted files displayed on screens for the jury. The success log with every family listed. Every operation detailed. Every officer credited. 30 names appearing over and over. Coordination. Planning. Conspiracy. The group chats showing racial slurs and celebrations when families moved. Social media posts showing hatred and extremism. Officer after officer revealing their true beliefs, their true motivations. Defense tried to counter. Called character witnesses. Fellow officers testifying about how professional and non-racist the defendants were. Called experts who claimed the encrypted files could have been fabricated. Called psychologists who said stress and pressure could explain Miller's behavior without racism being involved. But it wasn't enough. The evidence was too strong, too documented, too overwhelming. Vasquez testified for 3 days, calm, detailed, devastating, explained the conspiracy from the inside, named names, provided context, connected dots. By the time she finished, half the jury looked ready to convict on the spot. Closing arguments came in mid-November. Martinez stood before the jury one final time. You've heard the evidence, you've seen the documents, you've listened to the victims, and now you have a choice. You can believe 30 officers all independently decided to harass minority families using identical methods, or you can believe what the evidence shows, that this was organized, coordinated, a conspiracy. Occam's razor says the simplest explanation is usually correct, and the simplest explanation is that these officers are guilty. Mitchell's closing was desperate, grasping at straws, claiming prosecutorial overreach and political motivation and reasonable doubt that didn't exist. Even he seemed to know it was over. Judge Holloway instructed the jury, explained the charges, explained reasonable doubt, explained their duty, then sent them to deliberate. The wait was agony. Hours turned into days. Days turned into a week. Lena and I stayed at the courthouse. Couldn't leave. Couldn't do anything except wait and hope and pray. On day 6 of deliberations, we got the call. Jury's reached a verdict. Be in the courtroom in 30 minutes. We ran. Through the halls. Past security. Into the courtroom just as it filled with people. Media, victims, families, everyone who'd invested everything in this moment. Judge Holloway entered. Has the jury reached a verdict? The foreman stood. Middle-aged black woman. School teacher. Serious expression. We have your honor. On the charge of conspiracy to violate civil rights, how do you find the defendant James Miller? Guilty. The word rang out. Cheers erupted. Holloway banged his gavel. Order, order in the court. On the same charge, how do you find the defendant Ryan Matthews? Guilty. Defendant after defendant, 30 officers, 30 guilty verdicts. Conspiracy, wire fraud, hate crimes. Guilty, guilty, guilty. I felt Lena collapse against me. Felt tears streaming down both our faces. Felt the weight of 6 months of fighting finally lifting. Martinez was crying too. So was David Chen. So were the victims around us. Joy and relief and vindication all mixed together. Sentencing came 6 weeks later. Judge Holloway looked at each defendant. You took an oath to serve and protect. You betrayed that oath. You used your authority to terrorize innocent people, to destroy families, to corrupt the very institution you represented. The sentences I'm about to impose reflect the severity of your crimes and the betrayal of public trust. Miller got 22 years. Carmichael got 18. The others got sentences ranging from 8 to 15 years. Every single one going to federal prison. Every single one losing their badge, their pension, their freedom. Justice. Real justice. Finally. After sentencing, Lena and I stood on the courthouse steps. Media everywhere. Cameras flashing. Questions shouted. Martinez beside us. How do you feel? A reporter called. I looked at Lena. She nodded. We feel like justice was served, like the system worked, like every family who was terrorized finally got the accountability they deserved. But we also know this is just one case, one department. There are corrupt officers in every city. There are families being harassed right now. So this isn't the end. This is the beginning. We're starting a foundation. Legal aid for victims of police harassment. Support for families fighting back. Resources for communities demanding reform. We're turning our pain into purpose. Our trauma into transformation. And we're not stopping until every family in America can feel safe in their own home. The cameras loved it. The story went viral. Within days, donations poured in. Families reached out asking for help. Activists wanted to collaborate. What started as a nightmare at our wedding became a movement for change. 6 months after sentencing, Lena and I stood in our backyard. The same yard where Miller destroyed our reception. But now it looked different. We'd replanted the flowers. Repaired the damage, made it beautiful again. Under the old oak tree, we planted jasmine, the same flowers that had been in Lena's hair on our wedding day, the same flowers Miller had trampled. For healing, Lena said as we patted soil around the roots, for remembering, for moving forward. And for hope, I added, that something beautiful can grow from something terrible. We stood there watching the jasmine take root, watched it bloom over the following weeks. Watched it thrive and spread and fill the air with sweetness. Our foundation helped 12 families in the first year, got justice for 8, forced policy changes in 6 cities, pushed 3 police chiefs to resign, won civil settlements totaling $14 million. The wedding we'd planned was destroyed, but something better grew in its place, something that mattered, something that helped people, something that might actually change the world. Standing under that oak tree, smelling jasmine, holding my wife's hand, I realized something. Miller thought he was destroying us that night, thought he was putting us in our place, showing us we didn't belong. But he was wrong. We belonged, we fought, we won, and we turned his hatred into hope, his destruction into creation, his evil into good. That's how you beat them. Not with anger, not with revenge, but by refusing to be broken, by building something beautiful from the wreckage, by transforming pain into purpose and trauma into triumph. Lena leaned her head on my shoulder. We did it. We did it. What now? I smiled. Now we keep going, keep fighting, keep helping families, keep pushing for change. This is our life's work now. This is what came from that terrible night. I wouldn't change it, she said quietly. As horrible as it was, as much as it hurt, I wouldn't change it. Because look what we built. Look what we accomplished. Me neither. And we meant it. Standing there in our healed garden, under blooming jasmine with justice served and work ahead and each other beside us, we meant every word. The fight wasn't over, would never be over. There would always be more families to help, more officers to expose, more systems to reform. But we were ready. We'd been forged in fire and emerged stronger, harder, more determined than ever. Miller tried to break us. Instead, he created warriors, advocates, heroes who would spend the rest of their lives making sure no one else had to suffer what we suffered. That was his legacy. Not destruction, creation, not hatred, love, not defeat, victory. We won, and we'd keep winning. One family at a time, one officer at a time, one city at a time, until justice wasn't the exception, until it was the rule, until every family could celebrate their wedding without fear, could live in their home without terror, could exist without constantly looking over their shoulder. That was the dream. That was the goal, and standing under that jasmine tree, breathing in hope and possibility, we believed we could make it real. We would make it real. Together.